Is it good? Waalaikumsalam.
Easy to use Bible reader, and it's all available offline. The app is completely free. Download the Bible Lite app.
Halo, halo, halo. Tuh, tuh. Hello. 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 One, two.
One, two. One, two. One, two.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everybody. not having a good morning? Is it cold? Are we feeling cold? Cold. Tea or coffee? Which one? No, no, coffee will be good so that you'll be very active. Good morning, everyone, once again. It's nice to see our beautiful faces, and you're all welcome to the 2024 edition of Cybersecurity Week. You people will not clap. Me clap now. All right. So I know there are quite a number of. All right. Thank you very much. I know there are quite a number of people that we have here. Some of us are novices to cybersecurity, as it were. Some of us have been into cybersecurity for a very long time. Some of us are experts. We just came here to come and disguise. And then there are some people that don't even know what's cyber.
Kanda. Tinggal aku
It is that people are saying is very complex out there. We want to break it down for you so that you don't have any issues with it. Do we understand that? Great. Did you come for Multimedia Week? Hey, you would have loved. Did you check it online? Wonderful. Who was the last person that volunteered? Great. So what are you open to learn? Good morning.
And when I saw the link for the program, actually in cybersecurity at Lautech, we are most based on theoretical aspects.
So he's here all the way from Lautech. The interesting thing about communication is this. It depends on how you say it. Now, the way I said, he came here so he said that he wants to be able to add to his knowledge as a cybersecurity student at Lautech. He wants to be able to learn more practical aspects to it. And this is exactly one of the things that this program is going to do for you. So you are not going to be exposed to just the theoretical aspect. I'm glad that with the 3 people that have asked questions, all of them have been able to tell me, captured all of those 3 things inside of it. If you are just curious about what cybersecurity is, if you want to learn the practical aspect, if you want to find a way for complex concepts to be broken down to you in simpler ways, you can quickly add it to the plan. Is there anyone that would like to share what exactly they want to learn in this cybersecurity week? Anybody else? Anyone else? Do you want to share?
I love practical, and I love something that we. Thank you, sir. Picture on this wall. I speak a lot about many things. They said actions speak louder than voice. There are things that, when I see in picture, it even speak more than voice to me. So.
All right. Can we have that picture again? I don't want to give spoilers too much because the people that are still going to very, very interesting for me. Very, very interesting. So I want us to take a look at this picture of this guy right here. And brave. What else? A warrior. What else? A military man. King of the zone. A watchman. A man that is courageous. A robot. He's full of muscles. Which other description? He's full of muscles. Any other one? There's a particular one. A techie. Armor. He's protected. Great. That's interesting. Full of armor. I like that. Any other word? There's a particular word I'm looking for that I'm yet to see. A champion. He's focused. I agree. He's a male. You pointed that out. Now I'm sure that this guy is a male. There's something that this cape is showing me in particular. This particular cape, there's something it's describing to me that I feel like anybody has done. Yeah, the clothes, the cape itself, the way he's flying, it's almost looking like Superman. It's giving a superhero vibes, right? Do we know superheroes? I'm the only one that watches movies. They save lives. They save the world. I like that. They are intelligent. The word I'm particular about is they saved the world. That is what cybersecurity experts are. Cybersecurity experts are people here for the very first time. By the time you are done with these 3 weeks, did I just say 3 weeks? 3 days. By the time you are done with this 3 days event, you are seeing right now. It's not the physical world. It's not the spiritual world either. They are not the ones that save spiritual world. What they do is they save people in the digital world. Say digital world. An interesting thing about digital world is this. Like I said, I won't talk so much. I'm going to invite our keynote speaker very, very soon. A round of applause for him, Director of SQI College of ICT. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, the digital world is a world we all live in right now. If I told all of you, stay away from your phone from 1 week, what will happen to us? It's as if that's the food you eat and the breath you breathe. all of us almost live in the digital world. We can't communicate without the digital world. But the beautiful thing about the digital world is that it is expanding. Very, very soon, planes already have autopilot, right? But it's going to get even much more advanced. You may not be able to eat without the digital world. Yeah, I know, but it's happening already. So there's a drive-through I saw, I think it was 3 days ago, and there was no human attending to them. It was just a robot. The robot will just ask you, hello, welcome, what would you like to eat? You say, amala and ewedu. The robot will say, anything else? You say, fuku, roundabout, abodi, inu eran, shaki, ori eran, iru eran. All of those things together. It will say, oh, order received. And then they will get your food to you. No human at all. So the world that we are going into, which is already becoming a reality, is becoming more digital and digital day by day. And ensure that we are safe within that world. Do we clapping and standing ovation for him? The rector of SQI College of ICT, Dr. Ajani Adegbenro Sunday. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Am I talking straight away?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning. Sorry, is this working, Mr.? No, this is working, but this. Welcome. I want to believe some of us we've been seeing ourselves before, but some are, very strange to me, and I'm very strange to them. My name is Adegbenro Sunday Ajani, and I'm the current rector for SQI College of ICT. I welcome you to this week. Okay, you want to clap? Let's clap. For cybersecurity, which I believe we should be aware of, and probably to relearn of things that we have learned before, and most importantly, to make decisions. On behalf of the director, SQI College of ICT, I want to welcome you. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who had been part of this activity. While they get my slide ready, I also want to commend the effort of all the staff and, of course, the HOD for cybersecurity, Mr. Uche. I hope you know him. This is the man. Please stand up for recognition. This is the man in charge of cybersecurity for SQI College of ICT. Please sit down. And he has some other subordinates that they are working together. So I want to say a big thank you for coming. And I believe for these 3 days, today, tomorrow, and next tomorrow, we're going to have a very good time together. And it's going to lead us to something very concrete and very wonderful. I will be speaking on the roles of cybersecurity in digital world. And I want to believe Mr. Sheyi had been bringing up one or two things, telling us about the battery. Please kindly be patient while the battery is clean. All right. That's what we shall be talking on. Have you been able to bring something up? All right. Security. Security is not a language that is new. Speak the truth, you will know that we have very serious security challenges in Nigeria. Keep it because of its significance. It's not enough to have some or even knowledge. So you should be able to put them under guard so that it will not be misused. Maybe we'll go to the first slide. Are we at the first? Okay, first slide now. So it's very important that we understand this as this speech in our YouTube channel at the end of the day. I want us to imagine something. The next slide. Imagine a bank treasury without lock. Well, probably for the picture, what you see inside the drawer is money, dollars, foreign currencies, for many of us that are foreign here, and gold bars. I don't know whether you have an idea how much a bar of gold is being sold currently. Can you just check that out? Like how much? How much? 258,500 million naira, depending on the fluctuation of our dollars. That's one. So if somebody steals 10 of this, can you imagine if somebody have access to all these, maybe these drawers are filled, will run down. So the same thing, if people have access to what you protect, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect the business. It's going to affect every other thing. Hard measure for it. You're going to be sacked. Some going to be imprisoned because there was a break-in into this treasury. Now, let's now imagine the next slide. If you now have this kind of, you couldn't? All right. So if you now put this kind of cabinet, the cabinet that contains gold and dollars and probably pounds, you now keep them inside. What will stop you from coming in here? Is there anything? Everything available around this house gives room for anything inside this house to be looted. What again? No windows. I mean, it's just there. You can steal anything. In fact, you can take cow. If cow is inside, you can take cow, from the window and take it out. Why? Nobody will cross-check you. This is how important security is. It doesn't matter what you have. If you cannot protect it, it becomes a problem. And that's why the issue of cybersecurity is very notable in a season like this. Next slide, please. It's hanging. So that some of us will feel that maybe we are not affected. I just want to give us few backgrounds to this. Top victims of cyber espionage, those cyber crime. You may say, what do I have? I was talking to a friend, and then in their locality, they told them to contribute money for security man. So one of the landlords said he will not contribute money. They said, why? He said he does not have anything in his house that thief can come and steal. But is that true? Nowadays, that even thieves are coming to steal human beings. I learned of a professor at Bangkok a few days ago that was gunned down because he refused to be abducted. He refused to be kidnapped. They kidnapped you. Somehow, you have to be conscious. You have to understand the role of being a cyber protector. So we have the cyber crime that affects different organizations or different aspects of life. But we saw that the public has 36.05%. As see manufacturing 19.77, professionals 11.63, information 6.97, utility 4.65, transportation, of course. Now mining, 3.49. But we saw that the general populace at the receiving end of this, including people calling you to give them your pass from you, including people sending you links of Zoom meetings and some other meetings for you to join and click, and then becomes problem for you. Now, these are how we expose aware of this, and that is one of the major aims of organizing a meeting like this, for us to be conscious and be aware of what cyber crime is all about, then cyber police, and how can you be part of this together with us. All right, next slide, if you can go there. So I want to talk about trends of cybersecurity, of security in general, so that I will not just pick it from the top. What is cyber? What is security? Let's start from this. Mother police, husband police. All right. Is it only me that I'm raising up my hand? Okay. All right. Now, very important, this dog can sniff, this dog can detect, they can do so many things. They are very important to that. This is what they depend on to fish out thieves. If there is any material that the thieves left behind, or probably they are different odor for different people. So anytime the dog sees somebody, the person. All right, next one. We still saw the era of locks. How many of you have seen this kind of padlock? This one especially. This kind of padlock. That if you are not careful while you are trying to unlock the house and different things like that. Now, these are protections that we are used to. And then may not need this. All right? You don't lock the door. You leave your house open. You leave everything open. Then I'm going out. My gate is locked though, but I'm going out. In case you... Survivor, we post enough. Somebody is just looking for somewhere to just, benefit from, even though they didn't sow into those places. So it's very important. All right. So then we now come to house and everything. So we come to issue of codes. How many of you you've used some traveling bags that you have to set the code? In those bags, do they still exist now? That you open your bag at your back. So those are hackers. So they will hack your codes, and they will store it somewhere, and they will use it on our accounts, on our USSD, on every other thing that we transact online. Today is not a day for us to be teaching on how to protect passwords. We do a radio program every Saturday at Parrot. A month or so, I've been on the radio teaching on how to protect your password because of this crime issue where people had to dupe other people because they couldn't protect their passwords. So robots, what is the fear of robots? What is the importance of robots? So we do that every Saturday by 8:20 to 8:50. So if you are on, you will hear SQI there. And then bow signals. So these are ways by which you can protect your password. There are some phones now that if the position you give them is a particular place to see how they can protect password. See by your gesture, some could be by when you flip it at a particular time, it will unlock. So these are modern means of protecting things. And of course, some by bow signal. There are some bow signals in our body that are different from other people. It's one of the biometric media. Some of us, our temperature is not the same as other people. So this gadget can read it, and they know your temperature, they know your sodium level, they know your potassium level. So, and there are some of the phones now that if someone else touched them, it will give alarm. I believe many of us have that kind of. Security refers to the process of keeping technological systems safe from outside forces. Successful cybersecurity efforts can protect sensitive information and allow organizations and businesses to build trust with their customers. Any organization that uses technology and regularly collect information use some form of security to keep that information safe. It's not enough to have a business. You must be able to keep that business safe because of people that will invest there. Next slide, please. Majorly, I've said it. Basically for what? For protection. You need to protect what you have. It's one of the major reasons why we need security. And we saw that individuals impacted by crime over time, we can see them here between 2015 to 2021. These are the list of people that were, the record of people that were infiltrated, that were boggled online. And then we saw that in the year 2016 has the highest, and which has 2541 million. That's around 2,551,000,000, number of people. So high. Then we saw that as technology, the crime rate wasn't high. In 2018, we saw people also coming up. So that means between 2018, cybersecurity very serious. So it becomes also very difficult for people to hack into accounts because of the importance and how they have been able to attack per organization. This is how they attack organization. We can see 500 in the second quarter of 2020, and we can see close to 1,000. Unfortunately, they will not write it on their face. They could even be your roommate. Some could even be your husband. Of how the husband will allow the wife to sleep and put the wife's fingerprint on the phone and unlock the phone and transfer money. After transferring the money, we delete all the record and keep the phone back as if nothing ever happened. And the woman will wake up, of course, she has deleted, she keeps spending. She can keep spending. Maybe the man removed 200,000. So the 100,000 is still there. The woman can still spend that 100,000 for the next 2 weeks. The day she will mistakenly check the alert and see that the balance. What is happening? So my husband, my money, tomorrow, before you enter today is a problem. So eventually when she had access, they printed her record and discovered that most of those money were removed 12 midnight while she's fast asleep. How? Then, organizations that have been attacked previously, these are CEO of Amazon and Dijasi. The account was hacked at a particular time. Sundar Pichai account was hacked. Is the CEO of Google. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg, the account had been hacked before. If they can hack into these people, slide. So cybersecurity professionals. What if I'm a professional of cybersecurity? What do I do? What is my job? What is my response? This ensures private information and data is secure within the system. So the role of a cyber security professional is to make sure that data are secure. There are some hackers online that they are not human hackers. They are robots. They've deployed robots online that once you click into some places, in fact, it will hook you there. And once it hooks you, they can turn into your account with someone else's device. Now, it may be dangerous if that person can find your record and to hack you. Some of you don't have what we call OTP, the one-time password. If you have OTP, it can send a verification to you, then for you to send back to them. So this is very important, and this is the work of cyber security professionals. Cyber security professional. If you want to read any course now, they will tell you what is the future in that course. And that's why some courses are not selling as they used to sell before, because we see that the world is not needing them as they used to need them again. But let's look at cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity jobs report. It's been said that even in the United States alone, 3.5 million unfilled positions will exist in 2025. So why don't 2025 has not come? So why can't I prepare myself to be available, to be ready-made for that time? Now, most of these things may not need you to be there physically. Since it's internet, they can give you a part of the account or of their internet or of their website for surveillance, which you can do, and then you get your money while you are in Nigeria, while you oversee what they do there. Your own is to give report, your own is to generate data, give report, check for any possible cyber crime, check for any possible attack. So this is an opportunity for us. This course, cybersecurity, is a lucrative opportunity. Currently, this is currently now, if you are into cybersecurity. And we saw that these are, I removed two in between. That's why I didn't follow the lines, because I know it may not be for this purpose. Now, if you work home and your company is in abroad, you can still have equal access to this. And these are different roles, duties that they can give you. Now, if you are a computer forensic analyst, then your salary could be between $82,000 per year. That's huge. That's around 100 million naira in 1 year. Divide that by 24. That means in a year, in a month, you earn like 4 million. There are people in Nigeria currently today that are earning 4 million because of this. And then we saw then the progression, and then the last one is machine learning engineer. Now, these are the people that deploy algorithm for cyber crime, cyber attack, cyber protection. That's what they do. 152 who paid that month? In dollars, thousands of dollars. So this is easy, and you don't need any special education to know them. You don't need to have any special age limit to know this. Next slide. So how can now SQI help you? Now that you have come to SQI to know about these, today, tomorrow, and next tomorrow, we have ants of people. We have people that can guide you, that can teach you, and then they are available to any atmosphere. That's the first thing. You can learn, you can ask questions, you can become whatever you want to become, even while you are in class. They have enough facilities. Then we have flexible class schedule. I can do from distance, you can do virtual. Or you are traveling out of the country, you can still do virtual. Then you can still have what we call weekend classes. We are just starting that now. We are working on that. That will not stop what you normally do for your week. That will not stop what you normally have affordable program tuition at subsidized price. Of course, price of things are going very high, but we are doing everything possible to make sure that we still keep our price within the reach of people based on the current economic value. Then we have instrumental payment mode limit. You could be young, you could be an adult, you could be a retiree. This thing, so far that you can operate computer, or you have computer, they can teach you how to operate computer. If you don't know how to operate computer at all, they can start with you. They will put you in a class so far that you are grown to a level that you can operate something. Then choice of branches, Abeokuta. So if that's where you want, if you have family there, or that's where you want to go and study with us, you can go there, professional. Then we have our branch in Ibadan. In fact, 3 places in Ibadan. We have in Challenge, we have people in Oshobo. You can also go there. And also we have other branches that will be coming up also very soon. So you have this luxury going to be concluding. It's very important that you have recognized certificates. I was somewhere yesterday with the director who was seated. The woman saw the director and she said, thank you, sir. Director did not hear, but we at his back, we heard. I'm saying it. And then director heard, so I'm happy. He's doing very fine in Abuja now. Why? The child then came to SQI. Fine. You must be sure that the son is doing fine. So you have this opportunity to study, but where you study? You can study physics. But where? Somebody who study at MIT, you can't compare with somebody who study in Nigeria. Somebody who study economics in Harvard cannot be compared with somebody who study economics. I don't want to mention any name of institution in Nigeria now, so that you will not say, she school me or that. No. Now, you can't compare that. Where you study matter most also as next gold mine the world is looking for. Now, the gold mine has shifted from the bush, from the soil. It has shifted to the knowledge. Laborious and tedious job will not earn as mental job. Now, what they will give you probably 5,000. If you are doing laboring job, you will 5K. But mental job per second, your per second, mental prowess, mental capacity, and enroll for this kind of program that can give you that. Next slide. On this note, I want to post it to you that make a decision today. Make a decision today. If it's a way to go, make a decision, enroll. Some of our front desk officers are there. Ask them questions. How do I go about it? When will I finish? When will I start getting? Thank you. Give us the last slide to each and every one of us. Thank you. And in case there is question, you can welcome Director for Cybersecurity.
Good morning all around the world, for all of us that are online as well. So that is our rector. I think you can understand he has finished cybersecurity time. So I would like us to, what I want to say, it's not fun, but I'm going to try to make it as fun as possible. Do we understand? All right, so my first question for us this morning is, how many of us are below 18 here? Let me see your hands. Below 18. Now, you will get jealous of the young people. I'm very jealous because I wish I started this at a very young age. Because, man, if you started at the age of 18, 15, do you know what you accomplish at the age of 25? God. All right, so I'll be preaching the gospel this morning on the thing. So I will just brush on things and then I will give the mic to the next person. Hope you guys don't mind. Anybody? All right, so verse 2 as well. Cybersecurity encompasses from data breaches. Has anybody ever been hacked before? Anybody? Have you? Your Facebook account. How did you do that? How? Sir? They changed your wallpaper. Oh my God. That is serious. That is very, very serious. Wow. Okay, me, I also have a story to share, right? So, before me too, yeah, I see. So, many young people here, old people, I didn't see that though. To go add this Go credit of a thing now, you needed Go credits to join a particular group, or to chat on a particular group, right? So I saw one person advertising 20,000 Go credits. Just drop your username and password, and I will help you credit it into your account. And I was like, oh wow, 20,000 Go credits. Oh God, what can I do with that, right? So I put my username and password, and then he posted on my status then and said, if you want your account back, pay me 500 naira. Can you imagine? And then I didn't have money. I was very, very broke. Contact with people. I lost my to-go account. In fact, it was very bad. And companies who also go through that same problem, they lose a lot of money. I want to start with that. If a company, because I know most of us here want to be cybersecurity professionals, Abi? I can't hear us now, Abi? So if you are going to be cybersecurity professionals, you definitely be working in an organization, right? And if ever your organization loses or gets hacked at some point in time, they are going to lose a lot of money. A lot of serious money, because they are going to lose money sometimes if it's a ransomware, right? A ransomware is trying to ask for ransom, right? So the ransomware could be like 2 million, 3 million, 50 million. One healthcare facility in United Kingdom, they actually things, especially in the world right now, there's a lot of hacking. So I want to show us a brief side, Mr. All right, so it's going to show us a very brief, about how much people lose. Cybersecurity can be very devastating. So, and also for the people who have tried to, that are here, who want to at least try, you understand? Cybersecurity can be a very daunting. The key components of cybersecurity. So the first key component of cybersecurity is to identify. So as a cybersecurity professional, you want to be able to identify problems. Or ECOWAS, they come with the bodyguards. The bodyguards are not smiling. They are looking at everybody's faces, trying to see who's going to pull a gun. I'm seeing some very weird faces now. Security professionals, you want to be able to just see beyond data, right? You want to also see the physical as well. Somebody can break anybody. You might even want to kidnap rector. Oh my God. So we need to be able to identify, a person by his face. Because I think I read by psychology, if someone wants, right? So there's going to be a little bit of fear, a little bit of boldness. There's going to be this, I'm not so sure, I'm going to die. I'm really going to, I have a get information. You want to get knowledge. It's not like anybody is going to die anytime soon. Abi? So that's why all of us have this kind of faces here. But assuming someone was here to... So sometimes in cybersecurity, you also want to add psychology into it. And that psychology comes into the place of identifying vulnerability, threats, and bad guys mean. I think I don't have to explain what a bad guy means now. Everybody knows what a bad guy is. So now the second one is to protect. So, right? If this building, just suddenly caves down, the first thing you want to do is try to protect your neighbor. I know some of you don't really know each other here, but at least please try. Please try. So there was a time I used to ask some of my students that, okay, assuming something like that, can you imagine inanimate objects? You people, oh God, you are not even saying your fellow person, your rector. Who said rector? Aye, the distance between. So I won't say my own answer to that question because my answer can be very funny too. So, so you want to also protect life. Cybersecurity Week is Guardians of the Net. Now, Guardians of the Net doesn't just stem from only me. It is all of us. We are all guardians of our own individual LinkedIn. You don't want to have it hacked. So it is your responsibility to keep it secured. And that is the purpose of this Cybersecurity Week. You'll also be learning how to keep your devices, your laptop, your account. I mean, don't be sending pictures to people on the internet. Stop it. Somebody, sent me a message of sending pictures to someone. Someone messages you on sending money to the person. How? How many of us knows Amazon's website here? If you know Amazon's website, if you have ever, at least tried Amazon, let me see your hands. Hey, this is bad. Sir? This is bad. So someone came to meet me a while ago. So the person said he was messaged by a Chinese person, a lady, right? I don't know the level of the interactions, but he eventually started, that is so weird. Amazon, they sell stuff. And I'm like, Abi? Like supply chain. So how did, well, okay, so let's investigate. I said, okay, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, send me WXY, something. I was like, oh, okay, well, this is the first red flag, Abi. So I, opened the link up, and I was looking through the page. This thing had the worst interface I've ever seen in my entire life. Like the HTML, does anybody ever, do you know HTML? The HTML was terrible on it, and you put it, oh God. Oh, Jesus. HTML. Okay. So I feel like we need to do like a very, very serious outreach, right, to people to try to explain all these very basics. There are some things you should not fall for. You should not fall for a terrible interface website. You shouldn't. That is a terrible thing. You shouldn't fall for an interface or a website that has link of XYZ. To stop us from doing all those things. Sir? Exactly, low budget. It doesn't even have the Amazon colors. The colors was this man's. I was so pissed off. So, after you have been able to protect, right? So the next thing you want to go to is to try to detect. And some people's work is to protect, just like our police people and soldier. Please don't try to castigate me. They are protecting us regardless. There was a time I was coming back from Ibadan, money for him, like interrogate him and all that. So, and some people were in the bus and were just complaining that what is all this police problem? I said, what are they doing on the road? I was like, oh, they have never robbed. I really, really appreciate those people. One day I was on for hours. Oh my God. Honestly, we really need to be giving those people awards. Those people, they are protecting us. You might not know it, but detect. Some people's job is to detect, and detecting means monitoring. Right? I'm sure you know that there's a difference between when you detect and when you catch somebody. You understand? When you have a CCTV camera in a place, its job is just to monitor. I don't know, do we remember those movies back in the day? Do we remember those just watching, right? So I'm sure at some point in time, they are like motion sensors. So as much as, if somebody in those movies, someone is dancing and then it's bypassing all those things. And in real life, it actually happens like that in hacking because, when you are trying to gain, it's not really easy. Those people that are removing money from banks and stuff, it's not easy work. Those people might have done that thing. They might have been planning those things for years. You can't just go to First Bank and remove their money. How? No, you need to have somebody that is inside the bank. You understand? The person is not going to be giving you information. He was removing 5 naira from our account. I was wondering. Used to ask myself how those things happen, because if you have really go to the team lead is going to watch. There's GitHub for version control, right? So the version control is just going to be checking, giving you previous versions of the code. So if you have actually put a backdoor, I'm sure the version control must have been able. That is a serious thing. I wish I could try something like that. Have under cybersecurity for those that hacks. So the fourth one is respond. So after you have been able to identify the place and come and respond to those problems, if fire start burning somewhere, I don't want to say SQY, firefighters are going to rush down and they are going to come and try to put off the fire, right? And they not only put off the fire, they try to investigate what actually caused the fire. Maybe there was somebody that was too drunk and just decided to spill oil and then burnt the oil. Always want to respond to problems. So now, I'm going to start talking about the jobs anyways. Let me just start with the first one. So in case of, for those people that, you people are not serious, you are not serious. Later, I will say it later, don't worry. So the fifth one is to recover. That one I've passed now. To be rich. Who doesn't want to be rich here? And rector says somebody is making like 4M every month. Jesus Christ, do you know what you can do with 4M? When you save like 1M, then send like 1M to your mom and dad, if you may. And what will you even do with the remaining 2M? Right? Happening in your body, basically. So, think about that, right? So now, the importance of cybersecurity in today's digital age. So cybersecurity is very important. Like I said, cybersecurity, AI is never taking a cybersecurity person's job. Because I feel, as a cybersecurity professional, what are we looking at? So I feel like I'll be able to be creative. Then AI will probably take your jobs. Because AI is just going to be doing the thing automation will likely be. You have in mind to say, what does it even used to say? I'm a large language model. I don't have emotions. I don't know. I don't have feelings. You understand? So we have feelings. We have emotions, right? We see a problem. We are able to. So work is not going anywhere. In fact, very soon people are going to be hacking AI. No, not very soon. People are already hacking AI actually a lot. I won't say I tried it, right? Because nowadays there's something they call Internet of Things. Anybody ever heard of Internet of Things? IoT. Yeah. So now, CCTV cameras. What other examples do we have of IoT? Switch, right? So all those things actually work, over the internet. And it also happens with medical device. Part of the body be shaking. So the only way they have to stop it is by inserting a chip, a microcontroller. They insert it into the person's brain. HTTP. I don't know. Are you guys thinking the way I'm thinking? Ever heard of HTTP before? Hypertext transport. Hypertext what? Transfer. Imagine someone was able to get the packet to someone who has microcontroller in his brain. And he was trying to work like this, and you are coding him to work like this. It's like, oh no. You understand? Someone is moving, is singing, you want artificial brain or artificial person. Somebody that was connected to a machine and all that. So if a hacker is able to gain access, and if this thing becomes a very plausible thing that in the future, most of us are artificial. I'm sure some of us are not going to be bad guys now, but people like bad guys out there can be able to gain access into all those things and just be making people be moving, don't know where you're going. Nowadays, automobiles have computers in them. And do you know the funny thing about interface? It's also a way for devices to communicate. You understand? They communicate easily. And in here, you will learn application security. I said it's HTTP 2. You understand? So it is going to be very easy to attack. So I think there were some guys that practiced that. They did a research in US whereby they hacked something like that. So just imagine those movies that you watch whereby you see that somebody just hacked into, they are doing robbery and someone hacked into traffic, cars are jamming each other. Actually, those things exist though. For real. Those are the importance of cybersecurity in today's data age. In fact, I don't really need to say much. I just need to say the critical things. You understand? And now, even with the rise of AI, I heard that AI can make images of us. And all you just need to do is get your picture, a few of your pictures, and you can get your voice and then merge it together. So you just imagine someone can send your mom or your dad that you are in front of a gunpoint. They should send him to him when you are in school, and you are unreachable because MTN is bad. Right? And then by the time they reach out to you already, they already sent like 2M. You can see how bad that can be. So that means we need a lot of cybersecurity. In fact, cybersecurity, we need a lot of people with great minds. And I know all of you here, you can be doing architecture or chemistry or physics. It doesn't really matter. Security is shared. You all should actually be in security. You don't necessarily have to be hacking things or breaking things. You understand? You can from your physics, chemistry, architecture, bring it into the world of cybersecurity. It's going to be very useful. In fact, cybersecurity jobs, there are so much. Anybody here? You don't hear about it because there are not much people doing it. And we actually need more people doing cybersecurity so that we'll be able to at least help people. Imagine UI, was it last? You understand? And a lot of schools are being hacked like that. A lot of government, in fact, oh Jesus, government organizations are to go to government and secure the government. So now, I already have 2 secrets I want to share, right? The 2 secrets will make a lot of money. Because I know money, and the thing is on YouTube. That is the problem. It's no longer a secret the moment it has YouTube. Anyways, let me just say, a lot of people are losing their laptops. A lot of people are losing their devices. And really, do you know who they look of time to help you do all those things, right? They spend a lot of time and they will collect money and all that, right? So, after the police, who do you think they look on to next? Cybersecurity people. When you have problems with your phone problems, you understand? Anybody who has problems in this Nigeria now, they look on to cybersecurity people. And imagine there are no more cybersecurity people in this Nigeria. So just imagine the few people. So now if you come and join us, right, and then you are helping people to look for phones, look for, solve any kind of problem. Do you know how much money you can make from that? You can actually make a lot of money. Because imagine you lose your phone, especially those crypto people, and you have one account that there is like millions inside. If I tell you that you should give me 1 M to help you find it, I don't think you argue with me. It's just like going to hospital. Those people that are very sick, you want to be healed now. You want to go back to driving your motor and going to work every day, right? So if they tell you that your drug is 50K or 500K, there's no pricing in this game. No pricing. We don't use to price. Immediately you carry your problem. This is the problem you have. Okay, let us help you solve it. 1 M. You can go and grumble to your family people, right? So that is the first thing. You want to be able to respond to people's problems, right? But the thing is, before you're able to get to the stage of, learning all those things, it takes time. Because tracking people's phones is not easy. Sorry. So now, before I go into hackers and types of hackers, I want to talk about okay. So I'm just going to talk for my head then. So there are various roles in cybersecurity, a lot of roles. So cybersecurity is majorly divided into 2. Do we have that written down? The offensive parts and the defensive parts, right? So in the defensive part, let me start with that because I won't lie, that part is relatively easy. You are trying to defend people's phones, people's endpoints, trying to defend the SOC, S-O-C, SOC, which in our line we call it the Security Operations Center. So, have you ever seen in movies where you understand, those guys are called the SOC guys, they are the Security Operations guys. So that thing is called a Security Operations Center. They are the people that they are monitoring, they are detecting, they are responding in that place. So when there is a threat inside the house or inside the organization, you start seeing beep, 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 beep. Yeah, and so they will start typing, bah, 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 oh, we have been locked out. So, sorry, let me look for that. So the SOC, and then the next one I'll be talking about is blue team. Oh, okay, they have it here. So the offensive and the defensive. So, okay, let me just start from the top. Zoom in. This is as far as they can go. Oh my God. This is as far as they can go. So I will just say the stories and then, please, you can jot that. So in here we have offensive, defensive, researcher, engineer, and officer, right? Those are the forms of security, but they are majorly divided into 2, which is the offensive. Offensive, we have the network penetration tester. So who is a penetration tester? Let me start with that. A penetration tester is a person who does what we call vulnerable, something in code, right? Or in a software, a computer, your phone. So a vulnerability assessment is just trying to assess all those errors that might likely have been left in the code, likely run on an operating system. If you are using Android, then the operating system is what? Oh my God, you don't even know this. Or Linux, if you have ever heard of it. It runs on Linux. And if you are using iPhone, please don't disgrace the iPhone people. What operating system are you using, please? They are not even confident. Yes, iOS now. iOS, right? So those operating systems are actually code that was written by a lot of people. And if you see the code, for iOS, the code is not on the internet, but for Android, you should likely see the code because it's open source, right? So there is a lot of lines of code, especially if you go into Linux. There's a lot of, like, millions of lines of code, right, that they used to write. So all those things that you people are pressing, you're able to make phone calls, receive messages. And sometimes, because it is coded by somebody, we can have human errors. Abi? You understand? Back in the days when we did chemistry, you understand, during your chemistry days, for those of us that did science class, there's something we call parallax error when you are doing your titration now, Abi. Parallax error when you have that with human. Because sometimes it's just a thing being weird, due to drought or something like that. So you have human errors. Sometimes you might be in a code or some lines of code or a website. It's just like what I used to tell to people. Anytime you want to create a website and you give one person to write the front end and the back end, man, there will be a lot of bugs, a lot of errors in there. Because him or her, you understand, they might have at some point maybe his daddy called him or her and they was just complaining, you understand? So due to all those periods of time, the person has been going through different states of emotion, you understand? And he might have made a mistake, right? So as a penetration tester, you want to look through that code, right, and find those errors. So you should understand that at this point, you must be able to understand code as a penetration tester. And there are various, you don't necessarily need to understand code because it depends on testing, the white box penetration testing, and the gray box penetration testing. White box, gray box, and black box. So now, white box penetration testing, they actually give you access to their code, right? So you do a code review, and then you'll be able to give access to everything. They give you access to the server, if you made, their web servers. They give you access to everything, so you'll just be inside doing everything. It's very sweet. You understand? So whereas gray server and then they tell you to find your way around it and do whatever it is that you like. They don't really give you much information, so it is in between, right? Whereas black box penetration testing, they don't give you access to anything. They just tell you the name of our company is so and so. They move in, move laterally, break things, get access to the code, all those things you see in the movies. Someone's doing, that's when you start doing all those black things, right? But it's actually legal, right? You have to sign a form like, oh, I was authorized to do this and this and this and this. But the moment you are hacking and there is no signature anyway, you are not doing it legally. If they catch you, you will go to jail. I think it's 5 years. 5 years, you actually go to jail. Seriously. 20. So, penetration tester, so I already explained that you are just trying to access vulnerabilities, right? So now imagine what a network penetration tester does. It means a network penetration tester is just trying to ask, maybe you have a network background, like you have done networking. So don't worry, later in time, we are going to show us a little bit of networking. So if you find that it is something that you are interested in, you understand, you can come into the network, and after you have done your movies, that's where that actually works. Somebody is moving laterally, very, very cool, right? So the next one is mobile penetration. You are trying to access vulnerability in a mobile phone. And then at that point, you have to understand that, and if you are an Android penetration, a mobile penetration tester, and you don't know that, man, what are you learning? So a mobile penetration tester is trying to access or it's Android, be it iPhone or iOS. I think there are other phones too. Are there other? Sir? Is it? Do they have? Yeah, it's under Android now, Abi. Do they have an operating system? Have their own Windows website, right? You are trying to hack a website basically, or trying to secure. You sign, you are doing it legally. You understand? So that signing will help you make sure you don't go to court and then eventually go to jail, right? If you have your signature, if they take you to court, you can say, "Sao, we signed." Very funny. You understand? Even when you have a good lawyer, they can still be very funny. You will go to that jail. So tries to access a web application. You understand? All these web applications, Facebook.com on the regular. In fact, I think Facebook is one of the most locked down systems we have. Facebook, WhatsApp, they're actually very locked down. So if you hear that they hack Facebook or WhatsApp, yeah. So the only way someone will be able to hack not hack Facebook, hack your Facebook account, is when you give it to them. And sometimes it can be very, you might not really necessarily have to talk to people. I don't like talking to people. So anytime you sign in into your laptop, or you sign into your Facebook on your laptop, on your Chrome browser, right? You likely save your passwords on your Chrome now, Abi. Save password, update password anytime you change your password, Abi. So those things are saved on your Chrome profiles. So basically, and then I'll gain access to your Chrome profiles. All I do is copy that Chrome profile and put it on my laptop and run, right? So that is one way. And the other way is to communicate. I can just come and pretend, get your password and, gain access to your WhatsApp or your Facebook and then start doing all hacking WhatsApp or Facebook. Why? Why are you sending people to send 2,000 naira to this number? Why? That is an embarrassment. If you ever do such a thing, somebody, yes, sir. True link. And it's still social engineering, such as somebody is sending like psychological and removing your password or your username from it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, yes, it happens every day. I'm sorry, sir. It happens. Yes, it happens. Now, if you didn't sign in, right, there's something they call cookies on websites. Websites store cookies. So now, if to say you signed in Facebook on your Chrome, you did system to ensure that people cannot share resources on the website from one tab. You can have multiple tabs. I think can you go to your web browser? You cannot share resources from this tab to this tab. But let's assume you have your Facebook logged in on this tab here, right? And, you were given a link. As soon as you click on the link, another tab will open now. And let's assume this is the tab. Vulnerabilities, making use of that CORS to be able to send requests in place of you using the cookies from this tab. You understand, Abi? It's your browser, Abi, and you have already signed into it. So the person is using your cookies to make a request. So the person can actually, website looks like for change of password, right? And it will just embed it into this place. A script, you will not see it now. All you will just do is you will open it and it will look like Facebook to you, right? And then, bam, it will just change your password. As soon as you click on the link, it will think that, since it's coming from this tab, you understand? So there are a lot of vulnerabilities like that, a lot of them. You understand? So one thing to mitigate against those kind of vulnerabilities, we call it signing out of your account. So every time you use something, you are no longer using it again, please sign out. If you are doing that is actually what's happening. It's just that it is not just meant for you. The day it will happen to you. God. So, are you good, sir? All right. Because they are still under web applications. So now, bug bounty hunter. So a bug bounty hunter, right, in world of programming, we call errors bugs. You understand? So, right, and at the end of the day, if he's able to find an error, he's going to be paid a sum of money. So these people, they do it, so they are, I think they divided it into two. They are full job, or they do it full time. That is, you spend all your days. And I'm telling you, a lot of people are making serious money. So at the time when Windows 11 was rolled out, so they did this private bug hunting program for a group of guys. And these guys break it everyhow. You understand? They found a lot of bugs in it, and they were paid a lot of money for it. A lot, like $2 million in one day. In one day. If you like money and you can try, you understand, to look for bugs, you can always do it. I know people that are making a lot of money. It's not easy public. It is not hoping to be hacked. So for you to be able to even find a bug in it, you'll be very good. The likes. So, after bug bounty hunting, right, there's red team member. Who is a ninja? Who is a ninja? Ninjas are very, very exfiltrations. They do all sorts of things. You understand? Those guys are very crazy. A ninja can be in this wall and you never know it. Right? So a red team member is a ninja of cybersecurity, and you will not know. You might have hacked this whole place, hacked all your mobile phones, and you will not know it. You understand? So for you to be a red team member, right, you must have gone through a lot of training, a lot of years of experience. Or let me just say cybersecurity. I think this thing I should have started with at first. Cybersecurity is really not an entry role. It is not an entry role. First of all, you must have an understanding of systems. So let us draw back from the hacking part a little bit. You want to have understanding of web applications, right? You just go to police, say you want to start protecting citizens, and you will not go through their training. How? No, now. Yes, I'm ready in the barracks, I'm a soldier. They will beat the living. So you need to have some experience, understand a little bit. You might not necessarily understand programming. There are like three levels to this thing, right? What they like. But the major three is network, right? There's networking, right? There is a system. We all know Windows now, and it's an operating system, right? So, and the last one is, I've already mentioned three. There is what is that, you have affinity to code. You can go to the website and you'll be coding your HTML, CSS, and the likes. And if you realize networks is very, very interesting. Like watching how, understanding how, and it gets to the other person. All those things actually move through the network. You understand? And to be funny, to be sincere, the way those things are moving over the air like this, in mathematics in GSS1 or so, at the time when you get back to network, you might have to understand a little bit of them because those information, the computer only understands it over on the internet. So if you're the type that, you want to understand how those things work. Now we are streaming on YouTube, networking. Do you understand? And if you realize, I don't like networking, I don't want to understand how my messages are being sent on WhatsApp, no problem. You can decide, you can dive into operating system. Just, you want to understand, and again, you want to go maybe into command line. You want to be a badass. You want to, open all those black screens you see on all those movies and be typing, always got you. Always. You can start from anywhere. You can start from anywhere as a cybersecurity person. If you're a web application person, wait, how many of us are into web here? Next question, please. Let me see your hand. Web. Don't be shy. I know all of you. You must have deployed your website now, whatever it is that you must have written, you must have deployed it somewhere. Where did you think you have been deploying it? To the cloud. You understand? Cloud 2 is also there. If you like cloud, if you want to understand how, and for us that has already started, you're already maybe building websites or you're already doing networking, it's still fine. You can spend a few months, if you may, if it's 6 months you want to spend in your web or whatever course you are studying, you can still, divert. And for the data, Killing Votes, the Korean movie. Anybody seen that movie? The Killing Votes. Oh, God. So anyway, let me just briefly gist us about that movie. So that movie, the government, right? So they decided to create an application, and they found a way to deploy it into everybody's phone. So let's just assume this place is the whole of the movie, and everybody suddenly, maybe there's a bad person, and I want the person dead. Me and my group want the person dead. So we just display the person's name, and they're able to hack into our screen. If you want this person to die, click on yes. Else, click on, you are typing your yes. So now, as a security person, it's possible for you to install all those things. So then I started researching. So I found out that this person, there's something they call your calculator, your calendar. Which other one is a system application again? You don't have to touch them before they update themselves, right? So this person found a way to, tamper with the DNS server that, does the updating for those system application. He tampered with it, and instead of directing, DNS is what we call domain now. Anytime you collect somebody's number, you save the person's number with a name. You call it a user ID, Abi. So now, that address, Abi, that IP address, anytime you type google.com on the website, what you are going to is not google.com. That helps us to, change that name from google.com to the actual IP address. So now this person tampered with the guy that is doing all those changes on the internet. So we're downloading the updates from my own website. So, basically, if he's downloading from his own website, so you can basically download into the person's phone. And when he gets them applications, basically have access to everything on your phone. That is why whenever the thing just pops up, it will stop everything you're doing. Applications that can display over other applications. I don't know if you've ever tried that setting before. And if you can gain access to a system application, Jesus, what can't you do? It's just like WhatsApp, your phone, On the other person's phone, it's showing typing, like, how is that even happening? You have never thought about that thing. That is serious access on your phone. You have seen any kind of thing that is happening on your phone is being tracked over the network on WhatsApp, and it's happening at the other hand. You never thought about it that this thing is a very serious thing. It's very serious. You don't know. Very, very serious. Seeing everything you are seeing. basically. It's just that I'm sure they have rules and regulations to ensure that people cannot have access to those kind of things, right? So now, back to my red team. So red team members basically are the ninjas, so they have the ability, infrastructure, and try to gain access. They, enter the security, find a way to bypass security, jump fence inside, bypass cameras, gain access to things. If there's on-prem servers, they gain access to the on-premises servers and all. Movies, they try to emulate them. You understand? So if you ever, if you ever want to do all those things you see in the movies, all those ninja things that you're typing, blah, 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 hacking into. There was something that happened in 2017, right? Have we all heard of NSA before? NSA. They found a vulnerability in Windows and were able to potentially gain access to everybody using Windows. And bam, they're already into people's PCs, right? So they kept those things secret until they saw the exploit, they collected the exploit and hacked everybody again. And then made so much money. In fact, a lot of people were affected by that particular exploit. You understand? And on the internet, eternal blue, eternal life, eternal blue. You understand? And that exploit was likely developed by an exploit developer, someone who builds exploits, exploit developer does, or a malware plague like COVID. In fact, COVID was created by somebody, if you know. So all those viruses, whether it's good or bad, you actually want to do something. So the next one we are going into, so that is the end of the offensive side. So the next one we're going to go into is the defensive. So the first part of it, so you are likely going to read code or going through, you likely have a very good, what is standard, all right? So moving application security experts, security, penetration tester, blah, blah. They are all reacting. You understand? They are reacting. If there's a problem, they want to react. A incident responder, these are the people that hunt for bad guys. So if you are the type that you like hunting for people, you want to be finding people up and down. Shame me, no, I'm not a bad guy. So if you want to be hunting for people, you understand, you want to do it actively. No, you're not waiting for somebody to tell you that you need to do all these things. You need to do it. Google has a team for that. They constantly scan the internet looking for bad guys. That's where they catch them. So they do both the responding, the monitoring, and the detecting, right? And they are the guys that encompass the SOC, the incident responders, the forensics analysts. Forensics analysts basically investigate problems if they were a problem, right? If there was to courts, right? Forensic analysts can go through your phone or the person's phone in case if the person have deleted it to be able to find those evidence back. Do you understand? As a digital forensics person, you want to be able to go through system and find things that are hidden. If somebody feels is wise, is able to hide files inside one place, as a digital forensics person, you want to be able to find those files as well. You want to know computers so much that you can find anything hidden anywhere. You understand? As you know, there are a lot of ways to hide files. You can hide files inside a file. You can hide files inside, in fact, you can hide files inside a file inside another partition that is never, that normally people will not think to that. If there was a breach, incident responders, they just come from the internet, all those kind of things. That is the job of an incident responder, right? Then the next is malware analyst. So in this, right, whereas a malware analyst is actually reading the code of the malware to find out, how did this person do this, and how can I find him? That is the job of a malware analyst. This thing stopped. Cyber intelligence specialist. So as a cyber intelligence specialist, you are using the intelligence you get. There's something that needs to be found. People are taking pictures. You might be sitting there in the background somewhere and someone is taking picture of his family and he posts it on the internet and you appear there. They can scan the internet, look for that picture and they will find you and they know that, you were there at this time. You understand? And there are some people where somebody leaked information about the internet. The person was actually in the military, the National Coast Guard. I don't know if anybody heard about that. So the person leaked it on a group. He himself was an hacker, evidence, because the person, it was just like a file now. So he took it by tiles. That is what we call open source intelligence. In Nigeria, there are some houses, they are only in Nigeria, but Nigeria is unique now. There are some houses you will not find somewhere. There's some architectural designs that you will not find in some places. There are some trees you will not find. What is unique? Some towers, you can only find some towers in some places. So you are telling me they can't find you, you are joking. If somebody wants to find you, just don't offend somebody who is just ready to spend some. As a hacker, there are so many CCTV cameras you can access all over the world. If you are looking for somebody, all you just need to do is just be going from one CCTV camera to another. You must have passed one. You will pass one, and once you're knocking at your door, they will not knock, actually, they will break your door. So the next one is, so that one is cyber intelligence. So you are using not just OSINT to information, you understand? You can make use of Google Earth. There are people that do that. They make use of Google Earth to find people. And the government, I think the government likely have SIGINT. That is signal intelligence. That's what the NSA does. So NASA, what they do is that you're reading through frequencies. You understand? Because it's signals now. So they are reading through frequencies to be able to catch information. Just like what they used to do with this over their walkie-talkie. Somebody can grab it, somewhere on the internet, intercept it, and then be able to understand what those people are saying. That is signal intelligence. You understand? Anytime you are sending voice notes over the internet, don't think you are safe. People can actually decrypt all those things that WhatsApp is saying that they are end-to-end encrypted. You play it. You understand? There are some mathematicians that are thank you, sir. There are some mathematicians out there that are very, very crazy, and they will decrypt all those things in seconds. You understand? So if the government wants to look for you, like I said, whatever it is that you do, the wrong people, the wrong set of people. If you offend the wrong set of people, they will definitely look for you. So now, the next one is security operation tech and all that. So security, okay. So you understand, everything that has to do with information security, data security. If you are the type that likes that, if you like what we call governance, risk management, and control of jobs. Somebody came telling you, at the end of the day, whatever a defensive person is doing, or an is actually going on. Researching work is actually one of the hardest jobs you can find. Do you know why I said that? Because weird things on top of it. Try, what does this button do? You are clicking on it. That's the way researchers do. They will be trying things that don't make any sense. They will just be trying it, and I'm sure one day, bam, they will be able to get access to it. There was a time people used to say, there was this guy that I saw, where this guy he was looking through the source code of a particular code, one line of code that did not make sense to him. And he started exploiting that line of code, and bam, he was able to gain access to iPhone. He was able to gain access to the deep part of iPhone. It was that bad. And I was watching the video, and I was like, look at you people saying that iPhone cannot be hacked. Someone is telling me that iPhones, this is the face detection system. When you put your face ID. I'm going to put someone that resembles you very well, majority of the work, because they are trying all sorts of weird things, trying special characters, things that don't make sense, so that it will make sense to them, or eventually gain access to a particular phone. So when a researcher is able to gain access to something, he will report it to the public, right? And then the bad guys who are in the public, some Yahoo boys who will buy it. And when they are able to, and then they'll be asking you for money, a lot of money. That is basically how it works. Somebody finds an exploit on the internet, he reports it to the public, the code is there on the public. Somebody can gain access to those codes. On the people that own the system, let's say it is Windows now. The guys in Windows will figure out the problem as well, and they will also find a way to do a patch. That's why you should always be updating your Windows. You can see every time now and then, Windows is asking you update, Abi. That is the main reason, though. It's not because of them, it's because of you. So that somebody is not watching you while you are, doing whatever thing you are doing in your room. How someone can gain access to your system, right? So, what is the next one? So let's just move away from research and then go into engineering. Securely, there's a difference between learning to code and learning to code securely. Coding securely is a bit much harder, and it takes a lot of time. You understand? It takes a lot of time to code for the sake of security. If you are trying to code, they might just be what we call the DevSecOps. There's something they call the DevOps. Those DevOps guys are the guys in charge of what we call a CI/CD pipeline. And what is a CI/CD pipeline? It is continuous into the previous one, and it is deployed immediately. You understand? So the DevSecOps guys, they just come into that, it's continuous, do your pushing, continuous, whatever. They are just finding a way to exploit it. So that is just the purpose of the DevSecOps. And that is the purpose of the engineering guys. So you can be an engineer hardwares. And hardware too is one way, because if your hardware is insecure, man, you might not even, you can have, somebody can basically gain access to your phone from Wi-Fi, right? If you are not careful. And in fact, I'd like to advise that you don't own Wi-Fi. Abi, you own the Wi-Fi. If this person commit any crime on your Wi-Fi, if somebody commit a crime on your Wi-Fi, it is you they will come and meet you. If they are tracking it down, some people do it like that. That's why anytime you see your hacking movies, they don't do it at home. They go to a public place. They go into restaurants or coffee shop. They sit down there, connect to the coffee shops. So from now on, do not put on your Wi-Fi for anybody. If not, the day they will come and break your door. All right. So which one is the next? So the officers, right? So what does the data privacy officer, what does he do? Well, he's in charge of data and privacy. How can we secure people's data? How can we secure databases? How can we ensure that these people's data doesn't get to the internet? I'm sure some of us ATM pin is somewhere on the internet. I won't lie, because date of birth, and how did you, please, can you tell us the pin that was sent to you just now? How do you think all those things happen? How do you think all those things happen? Minus 500,000. And they tell you put your NIN, put your BVN. You are putting your NIN. You say we just believe that God is from the bank. Bam, and you send your bank details. Your grant. There is no grant anywhere. No work. So the next one is Chief Information Security Officer. So the CISO is always spent a few years, like 5 or 6 years, before you can even attend the role. There is no entry. You can't just come with 6 months of experience and say you want to be a CISO. Who is going to carry you? Security officer. So Chief Security Officer is in charge of all the security. The CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, is only involved in everything. The CSO is involved in that. Do you understand? So that is all of, not all, but a little bit of the careers you can dive into as a cybersecurity expert. Do you understand? So cybersecurity application, be it system, network, whatever it is you are doing. Let me briefly explain one particular term, hacking, before I leave. Hacking. What is hacking? What is hacking? That is the guys who were hackers before. They are just geniuses, people that were just very curious about things. Like, why is this chair made like this? They will just look at the web application and look at it like, oh, why is this web application like this? And they will just, take the web application apart. They are just curious. That is why I used to tell people that hacking is likely not, it's not for everybody. That's why you see all those people that are hackers, that they are catching up and down. They always look weird. It's because, and as soon as I went to the hotel, the first thing I looked at was, I'm sure the guy is listening now. The first thing I looked at was this land. Anybody who picks up the landfall can hear everything you are saying. You understand? I think that is it multicast, right? So I was like, okay, and I looked under it and I noticed that there was an RJ45 inside connected. I was like, who RJ for laptops, just in case, so I'll be able to see what is going on through the network. It's just that not everybody has that. You can't understand. I really want to understand because, from there now, that curiosity will lead me to plug myself inside. And then you just start noticing they are sending one information. Before you know it, people's money are being sent over your network, and then you're having access to people's money. And before you know it, they will say, they lost 50 billion. That's actually happening, and the next thing you're having the money in your account, and then you disappear. And human beings are very somehow now. There's money, you want to run, and very curious person, right? So before the word hacking now came into streamline by, is it Nollywood? Nollywood decided to make sure that hacking is displayed as some set of bad people with maxes that do all sorts of bad things. It's interesting to them. That is where the word hacking came into place. And then it was calling into having unauthorized access, right? You gaining unauthorized access issue. You are breaching confidentiality, you are breaching integrity, or you are breaching availability. Either you are making sure people cannot have access to MTN, right? Or they can't have access to their money, or you are looking into people's banking somebody. And you tell the person that, sir, how far my pay, right? And the person say, send your account number. And when you send your account number, someone sniff it on the hair, grab your account number, change it to your own account number, and send it to the person. The person grabs it, send the money to your own account. So since 3 days ago, whereas your money has entered somebody else's account. How do you think that happens? It actually happened though. It used to happen back in the day, but now things are a bit better using security. You understand? What we call the black hat hackers, or the crackers, as they call it. They are the guys that, hack into things, unauthorized information. These days, money itself is the listening people want to be stealing. They want to steal information because you can get it. You understand? One day you will click one of them and they will gain access to something that they are not supposed to get. How you send your information over the internet. Be very, very careful. Very, very important. Your pictures too. Your pictures, you finish eating today. You send a picture. You are going to one place with your family, you snap picture, hey, using open source intelligence, you just go to your Facebook page and we'll be able to look for her. This was where she can use it to steal your identity. It's just like what Yahoo boys do. They go and look for pictures of one white person, one white model. The black hats do. They break things, they crack things. All those Windows. Windows is actually not free. All of you that are using Windows operating system, all of you are all criminals. All of you are criminals. Yes, now, I don't use Windows. So Windows is not free. Windows is actually like 33K or so. Able to find a way to break into it and then sell it, give it to everybody for free. You understand? It's not a free software. It is actually paid. You understand? Organizations, banks that use it, they actually pay for it. Banks don't use it because you are paying. It is free now. Somebody actually has access to your system if you don't know. If there is somebody, the person must have left something now, because why do you think there's anything free in this world? I don't think so. Right? Ethical. Right? They do it for ethical reasons. They are the original hackers, the good guys, right? The guys that are curious, who just want to exploit systems, and the ethical hackers, right? So the next one is the gray hats. So the gray hat guys are the guys that they are not really sure. They are not. I know plenty of people that are like that. They think they are pretending for me, but in the back they are doing bad things. You understand? Those are the gray hat guys. You understand? Then the next one we have is script kiddies. All of us that what actually happens with the scripts. You understand? He does not know. Those are the script kiddies. They just run tools, connecting to another system on the internet from your system. You don't know now, Abby? Do you? T. Advanced Persistent Threats. APT. They do it for the sake of morale or one kind of sense, They just don't like the way Tinubu is doing things and they just decide to start hacking things and, for the sake of their political reasons. Activists, right? You are protesting. You are doing it for the sake of protest, so you start hacking things. You don't like the way SARS are handling things, then you start. Whereas we have the nation-state hackers. Nation-state hackers are the top guys. In fact, they have all the money because it is the government that is sponsoring these guys. When you are hearing Russia is hacking this, Russia is hacking that, how do you think they do it? They make use of this boy. Russia was hacking into Ukraine, and they were damaging things by use of, hacking skills. How do you think they made use of assassination? How much money? And I'm telling you, hackers, they don't, in fact, if you are an espionage guy or this nation state, the APT, Advanced Persistent Threats, right? If you are one of them, any amount of, if you on top of it, you understand? So they use it to attack each other. They use nation states to attack nation states. One nation, when you see one nation is attacking one nation, they are using this advanced persistent threats. You understand? Nigeria, we have not gotten to that point whereby we, have people that do all those things. You understand? So that is that about hacking cybersecurity as a whole. So I hope we enjoyed this, and I hope we're able to get one or two. Mr. Toby, Mr. Yemi, sorry.
Thank you very much, everybody. You're welcome. My name is Yemi. That's Sunday Yemi, and I work with SQI. I'll be teaching you some of the tricks that hackers use on us to hack us, or the fraudsters. So some of them are not really to them. So I'll be showing us some of the tricks they use on us and how we give out our information to them without us knowing it, that unconsciously we deliver information credentials. The only person that is, let's say, nobody is 100% secured. Even if you are not on the internet, nobody is 100% secured, that you can still be, the threat can still get to you. But let me say, somebody that is without being hacked is the person that is not on the internet. You don't have any presence on the internet. Your system is not connected, your phone is not, in fact, you don't use the SIM is on it. You are not secure, you are not safe. So the only person that is safe is the person that doesn't have presence on the internet, no phone, no system, nothing, you are just like that. And that's the person that can give net even when you are not. Even the Yarubo that is in one village that doesn't have any security. Security is just about trying to protect things, trying to protect. We have the physical level security, we have the digital level security personnel like the police, the FRSC, the whatever, the army, the soldier that protects. Anybody you have that those are the physical level security. And beyond the physical level security, they still have the digital level security, because the police or the whatever security they have, they implement to secure the building, cannot secure the internet. So that's why they still need the cyber security to be able to protect the information for you. So that's why you need the level of the cyber security to help you protect that part. And that is where we now have all the security threats. So when you are able to protect your physical structure, you also need to protect, or that you need to have security. If your phone is not connected to the internet, and SIM, that is nothing. So that phone is secured. So for me to be able to get access to you, it means I must first of all break. The first thing I need to break first is the network. So once I'm able to break the network and get access to the inside, the next time, and so we have the system level security. The system. Because the system is actually the one that hosts all the resources that we are looking for. For example, I want to gain access to bank, and I want to, just by changing the figure. How do I get access to that part where the application where I can change the figure? Is because the application is deployed on a system. So searching for the application that hosts the data. And so when I get access to the application, that's where I can now locate my own account and then change whatever figure that I want to change. So immediately after you boost the network, the system, and the application level security. So if you can break into these three, then you have successfully completed what you want to do. So as a security personnel, you need to protect the network first. Then you need to protect the system, especially the server. Your server is protected, and I cannot get access. And I'm able to add your server has been hacked. So I can go through the person I get access to the server. So all I just need to gain access to one of the PCs that have access to the server. And that's all. So the server is no more protected. So then security. And then the last one that is most important in any organization is the people. The people. We call the people the users. The users of the network, of the resources. And this is the most vulnerable part of any organization. And you don't protect the people that make use of the network, of the system. It's as good as not having any security. Because if the people are vulnerable, that's why whenever hacker or a fraudster want to break into anything, they make use of the people, majority of the time. They make use of the people's intelligence. That's it, they play on it. And if those people are not careful, they always orientate your staffs. Let them know this thing, we are still going to talk about them. So, can I have my slide, please? Okay. So, way of hacking people. We call it network reconnaissance. Under the network reconnaissance, one of the major things that applies to social engineering is just trying to trick people to release information. The hardest part of every security threat, like if you reconnaissance, what is reconnaissance? Trying to gather all the information that you need to break in. Because if you don't have the information, you can't try anything. So that's why that's the first step, gathering of information too. And the process of gathering information is not static. All I mean that there is no a single process of gathering information. The way the network is structured, the way the organization is structured. So if you have to understand the structure, depends on your own social level to be able to know what information, how you are going to get those information. And let me tell you, if to hack to resources will take you 1 year. That is, of access to the resources might not even take you more than, let's say, 1 day. But the information you will need to get that access for just 1 day might take you 1 year. That's part. That's gathering of information. So, and we have different levels of gathering of information, but the one that applies to us did it on us many times. And that is when somebody can just use different means to communicate to us. I don't need you. I want to hack into you, but I don't don't need to contact you directly. I can just use your social platforms, your Facebook page, your Twitter page, your Instagram page, any social media where you have your informations. I can just go there and use those information against you. Process or you deliver your information to social media. Like most of all, we like throwing information to Facebook or to all our social media. You already posted it. We are about leaving house. When you are on the road, you are still communicating. So all the present to know that you are not, nobody is inside the house, and they can come back physically to even loot your house. So all this displaying of information about yourself you are giving is actually a way of communicating yourself, and those information can be used against you by an hacker. So, for example, now there was a guy that want to register for a program, and that program is Cybersecurity, but not this one. I just seen for the first time, and so they called the guy, and the guy was just telling him different information about him, and it was like, how did he get those information? The guy now said, if you want to know how I got those information, then register for the program. And that was how the guy registered, because he was curious to know how the guy got to know about him. And when the program now started, the guy was now trying to tell him that all those information I was telling you about were just information I gathered from your social media page. And that was all. And so he was able to cash him to register just because he was able to get information about the guy. And so I want to track you. Only what I just need is maybe you work in a particular organization. I can go to your LinkedIn because I know your professional information are your LinkedIn. So that's where you display professional information. You can go there and gather your professional information on different platforms. So by the time I now want to attack you directly, all I just part of the information I gather, I knew you have somebody in the UK, siblings, sisters, I have information about them, about your siblings, your brothers, your sisters, and even what they do. All those are what you posted online. So okay, your brother, I'm in the UK, and your brother just sent a car to here tomorrow. And I will give details about your brother. The brother I don't know. Or through your social media that you should come and receive your car. I can just tell you that maybe custom or to be able to help you clear the car. Before you come over to Lagos, you need to send like me expecting a car, you are happy. You will not even think twice. You just send the money. And so after sending the money, I might call you again that the money when I send it can happen, and then you want to send again because you believe that I will not want to lose the 200,000 I've sent before. So I will now condition again that something happen again, you need to send another 100,000. And because you have been sending, you still want to send until your mind now open. Until your mind now, and you now be saying somebody took you. And that is not juju, it's not anything. It's just plain on simple intelligence. Phishing. What is phishing? Like you can just, I know that you play or you do what we call online. I can just, and I know you have money in those places. I can just create a duplicate of GT login page, and there is a way I will forward it to your email. And how will I get your email when I don't know you? It's another social engineering work. So I can just and everything. So I can forward those. I cannot send it as email message. I send it to you, and I cannot put it in the email that your account is having issue or something is happening to your account and you need to rectify. This is where you have to always be cognizant. For example, now maybe GT uses www.gdt, where the original one is GBT. So you might not be able to, but because you are not very careful as a change in some of the letters. And so once you click on it, you will have supply your information will come to me because I'm the one that developed the page. So the information, once it comes to me, I just receive it from the back end, and then I will now redirect you back to the original GT. So by the time the link open, the link will take you back on login. You won't know that it wasn't an error. It was because you were not on the original GT before. So you can now log into the original GT password. And so what will I do? I can now use it to log into your account. So by the time I log into your account, let's say, although if you are not the type that use something like OTP, that before any money can go out of your account. So by the time I'm doing that, by the time I want to purchase something or I want to pay for something with your money, and I discover that it will be an OTP that will be sent to you, I can need to have gotten your details. Then I will now tell you that link that you click on the other time will need to be completed. That the transaction can only be completed. A code will be sent to you now. That once you receive the code, send the code, receive the code truly, but you won't know what happened. So by the time you receive the code and you send it back to me, I will use to complete the transaction. The next you see is an alert, a debit alert on your phone. And then you'll be wondering, how does it happen? So these are tricks, or they say you give them out freely. Another way we can trick you is, let's assume that I want to hack, let's say Dangote, and I don't have access to Dangote, and there's no way I can hack Dangote directly. But I know that Dangote has a female PA. So what will I do? I can just go and meet her and become a friend with the PA to release secret to me. I can go as essence of dating her. Know that when you are on dating, you can be gisting, okay, tell me what happened in the office today, tell me everything. So the lady might be thinking that I'm speaking to my partner. Begin to chat, just be interrogating her, what happened, and what happened to Dangote today, how does things go, information. So by the time she's off, so if I can even go to, an hacker can go to an extent, or a frauder can go to an extent of even going to marriage, and you do court marriage, you get the certificate, and you think that you are now husband and wife, but you still have a mission. And by the time you get all the information is needed, you just divorce. This confidentiality of your organization to them is very wrong. So release confident details to such a person. The person might not be under, I work in SQI, and it's an hacker, and cannot reach me, but have access to my wife. So that's why you don't just say the person is in no tricky. Very, very tricky. So then we not even tell you the name of the bank. Like somebody was calling me that it's from my bank, that they are doing rectification. I was for I said, which bank? He said, don't you know the bank you are using? I said, I know the bank, but you have to tell me which of the bank, how many banks. So which of the bank are you coming from? That was mentioned 2 dates of birth. One of them is correct, the other one is wrong. So he was now asking me, which of the date of birth? So I will now say, okay, how do you get to know the date of birth? So, but because I was just interrogating the person, when he knows that, so you just need to know when somebody called you, especially when you receive a call, just interrogate them. You know that they will stop it. There was another incident that happened where somebody will call, they want to do one mama in the phone number. They now said they want to rectify the phone number that she switched off his phone for a certain period of time, for 1 hour, that he switched off his phone. So the guy now switched off so that they can be able to help him fix problem on his line that doesn't have problem. Now when they discover that the guy has switched off his phone, they now call the mama in the village that your son just had an accident and that he's in the hospital now, and that you need money urgently to pay for some bills so that they can start the treatment. And they said the mama to send maybe around 200,000 or something like that. And the mama was now trying to call the story, and the mama kept on sending money. So at the end of the day, after 1 hour, the guy happened to me. Nothing happened to me. That was how they knew that mama had been duped. So you can see what Fausta used to trick us into releasing information. And we still have many of them. We cannot just be explained because of our time. In fact, we have to just say some things to be tricky. And if you are not intelligent enough, or even not even because you are not intelligent, but because of ignorance, it's just what they can use to get access to anything about you. So stop posting too much details about yourself passively. It can be done actively. Actively is when I contact you directly. Like the one I said, maybe by dating, and if I discover that a friend is not working, like by just becoming friend, the person is not ready, I can come out to the person that, okay, need these resources. And so this and these are what details I need about it to get access. And so we just make a bargain. And so if the guy agree to the bargain, that's the end. It's one of the network reconnaissance. The next attack level, the next trick they can use on you is application there, that web or mobile application or anything that you install or any application is telling you to log in, username and password. All those things can only catch a notification and still do something that is supposed to do without logging in. So that is why if you are a software developer or you are into coding and you are building app, you don't just depend on, you require that you do two-factor authentication as a message so that you can type a code. All those, if you have an application that asks you to do two-factor authentication, you have stopped them from succeeding, from cutting out the money. That's why it is very important from you. Now you need to, it's a real website or it's a fake website. Maybe true, or if it's not real, before you, so ensure you perform as many factor authentication as you can perform, apart from just the one. Another one we have that is very important is with an organization, not personal. Auto-router, although it can be used on personal, I'm going to give you an experience of how it can be used to attack a personal person. The auto organization, you find a place in the organization in their network where you can just capture it and send it to the attacker. So the attacker will have an application on his device that is using to receive it and analyze it and be able to decode whatever information that is going on in the network. So we call it auto-router. I watched then that the ATM, the guy used an ATM where you normally slot in your card. You know there is one particular like green box that look like a semicircle. So they are just like a chip or a device. So he created that device that looked like that mouth. He now used it to block capture the details of the ATM. Like your create a new ATM. At least he has gotten access to your information, get your money out. So for fun, I already have your account, I already have your social engineering one we call auto-router. This is an auto-router device. So it can be used for maybe in a communication. Let's say we have 50 devices. There is a way we can detect how many devices actually in the company that is in the network. Now if I do the network, that can give me a clue that device they are communicating to is a server. And so I will now need to do something that can be done on a network. So if you are working as a network administrator or as a network security of an organization, you need to always observe your wires or connections. There is what we call routine check. Move around strategic locations and everywhere. You just begin to search for unauthorized insertion in your network. So once administrator. Another one we have is called backdoor attack. Backdoor attack. What is backdoor attack? At the backdoor attack, my colleague that left us, or it can even be an application into the person's PC so as to capture whatever the person is doing or capture information from the person or for me to access the person anytime I wish. And this thing, you can contact this thing through many means. No device for a Windows OS that costs almost maybe $25,000. And somebody hack the window and then it's giving you for free. And you are installing, you discover that a software that is supposed to be sold for 50,000, you are buying it for 500 naira at one bus stop. And because it's a crack one, they just give for 500 naira what is being sold for 50,000. And you think you are buying a cheap software and you are installing it. All those things, that's one of the ways you can have a backdoor implanted into. From the backdoor, it can access, from that software, it can access your system or on your phone. Except that phone is not online. That's the only time you are safe. Once it's online, you can be tracked. Cure this backdoor is by opening a link or email. For example, now maybe and that's what you normally watch on the internet. It can be film, it can be a game that you normally play, it can be maybe you like searching for a particular information online. I can decode that information. For example, let's say you like watching a movie. By the time you download the movie, the backdoor already enters your system. You don't need to install it. It doesn't matter. Once you just get it to your system, I might make it all in the world, except you are not connected online. It can be phone, it can be a message, SMS or something like that. Always be careful of clicking on does not exist. You don't find out if that is you are now very information is backdoor. I can even put it to the flash and I'm targeting. I can just put it on the person's table, or I'll put it closer to where the person. Or you are supposed to pay for something. Someone that asks you to pay, ask for free, must have given you a backdoor. Ways that a backdoor can be implanted up to your security. So all this about before I stop for denial of service. What is denial of service? Denial of service is when you are making, let's assume now, I say you should pay for a software, but you don't pay for it, and you now go through a backdoor to download it for free. The one you are downloading for free, I might have put a backdoor on it. So what I will do is I can encrypt all your data, and I will now tell you that until you pay so amount. So if you are supposed to pay maybe 10,000 for the software before, I'm asked to pay on disk. I can encrypt all your files, and if those files are something that, so, and this thing can be done in many ways. It can be done on individual, it can be done on PC, it can also be done on a network. For example, if I want to do it on a network, I can do what we call synchronization flood. What is TCP synchronization flood? This is where I can see an organization. Let's say I look at a particular bank, and the bank has done something for me, and I was vexed. And as an hacker, I don't want the bank to operate for that day on the bank or on that particular organization. What does it do? The way it works, introduce transfer of device. They are doing is what we call three-way handshaking. They are trying to link each other. Now, during the process of linking each other, I can be breaking the communication in the between. So I will not allow one or the system, I will not allow any of the system to make connection, to complete connection to the server. And so by the time no device is able to communicate to another, then you will not be able to access the resources. So for example, now I know that there is a server, and on the server is where all the resources is. And every other user normally communicates to the device, to the server, to get the resources they will need for that day. So as they are trying to communicate to the server, I will be breaking the connection. I won't allow it to go through. So by the time nobody is able to communicate to the server, that day nobody will be able to do anything. So if it's a bank and they just service, doing it for a network. Another way I can achieve that is called ping of death. Ping of death. For every device that communicates to each other, there is a amount of packets that normally that will be to in with oversized packet. So what happens to it is that once they receive oversized, they can process, the server can start hanging, or the server can lead to what we call blue screen. Yes, that's what we call blue screen. It's an error. It's a problem on the RAM of the system. When the RAM takes too much that it can process, if it just crash and then turn on to blue screen, either the server will just start rebooting itself, it will come up, it will reboot again. It will come up, it will reboot again, it will not be stable. And so when the server is not stable and it's not able to communicate, nobody will be able to communicate to the server of service. Then the last one I'm going to talk about, the denial of service, is what we call tribe flood network. Tribe flood network. The tribe flood network is when you begin to multicast in a network. What it does is that when you send a multicast, whatever they are doing, respond to the broadcast first before they continue. So what I will now do is, I will now begin to send broadcast to the network. So when the server will just take all its time responding to broadcast instead of responding to users in the network. And so because of that, they won't be able to access. That's what we call denial. So all these normally slots in your card. Now what it does is that it created to look out like, but only is not like a sheep or a device. So it created that in that can come out. Now you need to block the original one that's on the ATM. So what it does, when you normally slot in your card, you know there is one particular like gray box, like it's a mix on networking. So you need to understand networking if you want to go into network security, or you want to go in, no matter any part of security you want to go into, you need to understand some terms in security. So he'll be telling us some of those terms and will be teaching us some things. So that we'll be bringing forward Mr. Toby, who is a network administrator. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's like we are kind of catching codes, right?
Yeah, I'm the one that I'm not using the mic very well. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, please. I'm the type of person, I don't like my class being boring. So the way we are responding is doing me as we are not like ready for the class in a certain way. Right. So in order to make this a little bit interesting, but let me first go by acknowledging my guys in the house, Mr. Yemi and my Oga engineer Amos. So I want to thank you. I really appreciate you for this opportunity given to me to present. Actually, they were the one that trained me, so I wasn't expecting that I'm going to stand and talk. So I was expecting the be the one to take his ball. You just say, okay, oh my, no, let's hear you actually. So I want to talk about network, and I have I don't know, my slide is somewhere here. At least I think I can still do it without the slide. Yeah. So don't mind my own slide, it's quite different, right? It's not beautiful, it's because I prepare badly. So if you are to ask, I like my class being interactive about the network. So I want to, basically I'm going to talk about three things. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the network. I'm going to talk about, and then we are going to talk about subnetting and its importance, its relevance to cybersecurity. I like starting my class by, asking a couple of questions. So that helped me to prepare and, decide on how to tackle some stuff, right? So, but nevertheless, I have a short period of time to explain all of these things, and I pray the Lord help me. Right. So is there anybody that can tell us what a network is? So before we go into the slide, anybody? What a network is? So what's the name, sir? Mr. Okoyemi said
networking is the exchange of information or surface
as between devices, and basically that is what happens if I'm to go a little bit more critical or a little bit more, if I'm to go in depth with explanation now. So to break down what Mr. Okoyemi said, now I said this is what we do every day. So if this, my device here, right, we do it every day by, for instance, I need to send a file from my phone, right, to another phone. What are the approaches we use? How do we achieve that? Let's say, for instance, I need to send a movie. We're on the Wi-Fi. Yeah, we are talking. Yeah, I want us to talk. Sir? We can't connect without a network, sir. We can't connect without a network. So yeah. So now, when you are now trying to, okay, make use of LAN. Somebody said we make use of the LAN. Actually correct. So another question I will ask is now, how do these devices, guys, what they do is, they capture your data that is being moved. When I say they capture your data, that your data that moves between this man and that other device, they capture the data. So how do they capture the data? So meaning, for this man to send a data to another computer, it establishes a communication channel. So basically, networking is about establishing a communication channel between at least two devices, right? For the purpose of what? Sending a resource. For the purpose of establishing a communication. So now, the way I do explain the communication is that now, what I am doing to everybody generally now is me communicating to you, right? But your network, the way they communicate is not the oral communication, right? They communicate in the process of either they are sending a file or they are receiving a file. So this file can now be basically anything, right? This file can be the movie you send from your phone, can be a picture, right? Can be a music. Now, so where does this come into the cybersecurity? Now, I will take this a little bit higher by saying now, let's take for instance, we all know NIMC, right? National Identity Management Commission or something like that, right? So we all know the Yahoo guys, Yahoo, all those people that we call Yahoo, right? So now, one of the tricks they use in, getting people is framing to be who they are not, right? And the, hiding under somebody else's identity, right? So just picture it that somebody now has access to the computer, right, of NIMC, meaning they now have access to the identification of everybody that has registered with NIMC. What do you think will happen? What will increase? Microphone off. What do you think will happen? Yes, sir? Thank you. A lot of what we call identity theft. Identity theft is a serious crime. Those Yahoo guys, that is what they do. They have their means of getting the identity, whereby they need to scam a white man, they look for the white man's identity, then use the identity to pose as though they were in the same continent, and they use some tools to change their location.
And it's inside that is sorting your card. Now what it does that it created a autorouter like on ATM. So what it does is that once you let me give you an example. There was a particular figure I was doing the ATM, the guy is out and freezing. And it's inside. So he created that like somehow. He now used to block the original one that is on the ATM. So what it does is that once you let me give you an example. You know there is one particular like labels like it's a missile and freezing. And it's inside that is sorting your card. Now what it does that it created to block the original one that is on the ATM. So what it does is that once you let me give you an example. The ATM, the guy uses an ATM.
Storage, right? Picture the storage in this way, where we all are your Google Drive, the files on your Google Drive. Thank you. Without the internet, can you access your iCloud? It's impossible. So something makes your request known to that storage. What makes your request known to that storage? What brings into the awareness of that storage that you want to access your details on that computer, right, is the network. And when the request is going, it goes at a certain point about how computers, how they share information between each other. Together, please. Thank you. So I think with that, I've been able to achieve the first one, which is what a network is. I would have loved to go explaining what a network is. I will explain that with what the OSI model layer is again. So with the OSI model layer, we get an in-depth understanding. All right. So of we explaining how computers interchange and exchange data. We all know that. What language does the computer understand? Binary. So now think of it when you are making a request, when you say you are sending a video from this your phone to other phone, then how does the data, okay, now I think that is much. Look at it this way. We all connect our phone to our laptops, right, for the purpose of sending those movies, and you are using the cable. So now how does the movie move from your system? Things that we call file format, right? So is it the file format exactly that got moved on your cable? Because the only thing your cable understands is just what? The only thing, that is majorly what passes through those cables. And what you are sending from your laptop to your phone is what? It's a movie. So how does it, not to talk of when it now passes through the cable, the language your computer understands is just zeros and ones. So how do they go convert it to? If you get this, explaining TCP will not be difficult, right? So now, think of it this way. Network created somewhere, not created, right? Some people think about it and think of a way for devices to talk, for them to talk. Let's use the word talk now. For them to talk. Let's journey back to as early as 1960s, right? When the inventions of computers were still very new, right? Of course, there's nothing like big data then, so there is no much importance to devices communicating to each other. There is no much importance to devices trying to like share resources. Am I making sense? So now,
normally sorting your card. You know there is one particular like labels, like it's a missile and freezing. And it's inside that is sorting your card. Now what it does that it created a autorouter like, although they don't like a sheet or a device. So it created that like a mouse. It now used to block the original one that is on the ATM. So what it does is that once you, let me give you an example. There was a particular people I was doing the ATM, the guy uses an ATM where you normally slot in your card. You know there is one.
So now, what is the primary objective for creating that platform, for creating that network? It's a network too. What's its primary objective? Thank you. For them to read only. Okay, read on websites only. It is just to, exactly, thank you, to connect social. There are some of us that we like flexing, right? So if I want to, I don't need to leave my comfort zone, then but I can communicate with you virtually, then we can start talking. We can be in Jamaica. In one of my classes, I do say, God forbid, right? I didn't mean these technologies were not created or invented by a human being. Atima Gboju. Sorry. Okay. There are no people that don't. Everybody understand Yoruba, right? Atima Gboju, right? What do I mean by Atima Gboju? Imagine you need to send a message to your mom that lives in Abuja, right? And the only option you have is to trek from here to Abuja. Importance of network. Imagine the only thing you can do, your mommy is not, or your friend, or your girlfriend, or your boyfriend does not live in the same city with you. And then, of course, once in a while, you need to communicate with them. And the only thing you can do to communicate with them is to trek. Right? It's just to trek. You know it will be easy now. Just thinking of those people that they say they trek to Mecca those times and trek to Jerusalem from here. God forbid. God forbid. Right? So now people think, how can we solve this problem? Whether within some couple of seconds, if you call somebody in Abuja now, how many seconds does it take before the person picks? Before you start hearing those tom 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 tom, how many seconds does it take if the network is very okay, very smooth? Just some couple of seconds. But if you want to enter Molue from here to Abuja, it will take how many minutes? Thank you, sir. Daddy didn't tell me back to back, right? Just telling us the importance of network. So now, where does the cyber criminal or where does cybersecurity comes into network? It comes into network when the bad guys now take advantage of this tool that was created and then use it to what? You know what they do now? To do Yahoo, to do people. That is where the cybersecurity comes in. So this tool was created to what? To do what? To make life easier. But some people see that easy for one. So how can you make yourself safe in this world where what everybody is looking for is how to just cheat you? So how can you make yourself safe in this digital world? To make yourself safe, of course everybody, we are acquainted to this thing now. We can't do without this thing. We are now addicts, we are sort of an addict to them. We can't do without it in a day. No, we can't. So the fact that we can't do without them in a day simply means we are prone to be attacked. We are prone to be what? Anything can happen to us at any time. Might not be us. Let's take it a little bit further now. When I say we take it a little bit further, that simply means now, if you look at infrastructures like let's take for instance, Mr. Uche said something the other time. It's because Nigeria we don't really have something big like that to say. But of course we have something big to say, right? Let's say the war that is happening in Israel and those all those people that are fighting themselves. One of the ways they can fight themselves is through cyber warfare, whereby they fight themselves with these devices that were created. In one of my classes, I was telling somebody of a weapon that was created through this man and through this technology, and it is free out there. If you just know what to look for, you can take charge of this weapon, then utilize it to your own interest. You can even use it to target somebody. Use it to target a nuke, and then a nuke is going to, a nuke in Nigeria now. Now, our engineers does not have nuke, right? So, but these people that invented this thing, they actually know what they are securing. So security is not something that we do. You have to be deliberate about it. So it goes beyond just securing your smartphone or just enterprise gadgets. Are we making sense? So now let's go back to the USI model layer. So the USI model layer has 7 layers. So these 7 layers talks about, are we together? So let's take for instance, this man here needs to access youtube.com. How will this man get to youtube.com? One thing that I would say is that YouTube is just one computer too like this, just sitting somewhere. So how will this man get to YouTube and get a request out of YouTube and then get a response from YouTube? This is what we do every day. When you open your web browser, you just type www.facebook.com, you type youtube.com, whatever website you are visiting. This is what we do every day. But this explanation might take, I don't know, as God will be helping us, might take hours, but it happens in a fraction of a second. That is how fast you are, right? So number one of it is what we call the application layer. Application layer. So what is the application layer? So you can picture the application layer as, in order for me to explain this, probably I should explain the concept of computing. When we explain computing, a computer, we say computer is a device that takes in data, processes the data, then gives an output, right? So the input to a network is through what? It's through the application layer. Meaning if you need to access a resource on a network, right, you have to give an input. So where you input, where you communicate to a network is through the application layer. Are we together? So now, at times we get a kind of a misconception whereby they say the application layer has to do with, for some of us that has an ideology about this, a misconception that application layer is, those applications that we use and stuff like that. So application layer specifically is talking about applications that make use of certain protocol to make a request, to make a GET request. What we say GET request? Everybody say GET request. GET request. So as the name implies, GET request simply means what? It's just English. I want to get something. So I need something for a computer that is not physically present with me. Right? That's the reason why, in order for me to access Facebook, the first thing I need to do is to input what? The IP address. Sorry, not the IP address. Actually, it's the IP address, but let's not go into why it's IP address for now. So I input on my web browser, I input www.facebook.com, then I hit enter. So the enter that I hit there is me now instructing, coming to my application layer, right? Using some services such as what we call HTTP, HTTPS. These are the protocols that works. Yeah. So this is a much explanation details what talks about a much explanation that talks about the application layer. So it says this layers establish communication between the application of the network and the end user, using it by defining the protocols for successful user interaction. Do we get it now? So, meaning if you need to interact with the network, you have to be at a point to give an instruction to the computer. We always say computers are dumb, so they can't think or act on their own. So you have to feed them an information. So network to its dumb, an instruction to the network on what to do, right, is through the application layer. So now, in order for you to use the application layer, when you are given an instruction, right, the instruction must go in a certain different protocols, right, that now works at the application layer, such as the HTTP, HTTPS, DNS, and so on and so forth, FTP, and so on and so forth. Right. So now the question is, what are these protocols and exactly what are they doing? So if you've been surfing the internet, let's say you want to type Facebook, you just type facebook.com and then you revisit and look at that web browser again. You notice HTTPS will have been included. HTTPS / you know those things, right? So the HTTPS is talking about the application now, right, that your system is going to use in presenting your request, which is your GET request, right, to where the computer is, to where your message is going. Are we getting it, or I should explain? We are following, right? That's the application layer. So these are other stuffs. So at the first layer, right? So the data. Let's say, for instance, now I wish there's a board. Okay, now let's say we want to access YouTube. I make use of YouTube the other time, right? I want to access YouTube website, right? I'm going to make a request to YouTube server, wherever it is, right? So I'm going to make a request. So the request I'm going to make, right, firstly, right, is going to go through the HTTP. I'm sorry, not HTTP. It's going to be through HTTPS. And this HTTPS has its port identity. So the port identities are used for services. The service is talking about the actual man that is going to take charge of the information wherever it's going to. So from your own end, you know you are setting up or you are establishing a communication that the service that is going to respond to that data or to that request you are making, right, is HTTP. So now HTTP has an identity on the computer. So the identity of HTTP on every computer is their port ID, which is 443. So for HTTP makes use of 443, right? So now, when you are sending a request to YouTube, right? So an HTTP header is going to be added to that data. So let's take, for instance, I have this data. That's the concept of now to everything that happens at the OSR model layer. There's something we call encapsulation and decapsulation. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is a means of, adding information that determines how the data will be moved within these devices. Right? It determines how the data will be moved and how the devices are going to work on the data. So at the first layer, right, an HTTP header is going to be had. It's going to be added. So what's the HTTP header? HTTP header has a lot of information inside of it that we are not going to go into now. So now the next layer that we have is the presentation layer. So I forgot to add this. At times this thing might be difficult for us to to understand the process. But in order for us to understand the process, there's an acronym that we use in understanding the series at which these layers come one after the other. So we use the acronym, all people seems to need data processing. So all people seems to need data processing. So, but if you are not interested in knowing what that means, you can just follow along. So the second layer is what we call the presentation layer. And the function of the presentation layer is to scramble whatsoever request you are saying. Your computer does not understand all those jargons, right? So the input on your computer basically is to do what? Is to click on your mouse, is to tap on your keyboard. But what actually when you tap your keyboard and we say computer understands zeros and one, then how come do you have A or whatever thing you click on your screen? That's the concept of abstraction. Whereby you actually you don't need to know what goes on under the hood. What you just need to know is you just get a result. Right? So at the presentation layer, what happened at the presentation layer, right? So presentation layer is responsible for scrambling of data, right, into the format that the next layer needs, which is just zeros and one. So the conversion of your data, right? So meaning our HTTP request that we make at the application layer, right? So it comes to the presentation layer. Once it gets to the presentation layer, one of the first things that presentation layer is going to do on that data is to convert it into zeros and one. So if you have any data coming in, let's say for instance you are sending a movie through your Xender, that data must be converted into zeros and one. The man responsible for converting it into zeros and one is the presentation layer. So not only that, right, presentation layer also encrypt the data. So what's the importance of encrypting the data? The importance is basically just because when the message is being transmitted over the internet, then the bad guys do not just get their hands on the data, then just use those data to their advantage. That is, if you believe that only secures your system. But this security alone is not just enough. And even if it is enough, we won't be here to say we want to study cybersecurity. Am I making sense? So now, that's the presentation layer. So according to my presentation, I said, what is about the data format and encryption? So what is the data format here? So the data format there is actually talking about the formats that which data can be. So, to every applications, there are different formats, there are different file formats to them, or what we basically call file extensions and stuff like that. right? So to a static image, right, there are different types of file formats for static image, right? People that do graphic design, when they are done designing, they want to send it to their clients. They are not going to send the raw file of the application. They send a certain file format of the design, right? So when you are done designing, right, let's say for instance you are a software developer, right? You are done building whatsoever software you want to build, right? And you want to execute it. I think there's a terminology they use. They will say they bundle it. Do I get it, sir? They will say they bundle it into just one. So meaning those programs that you are running are not just one icon that you just see, just tap on the icon, right? So to convert it into .exe, there are some approach to just bringing all the source code together and then just following stuff like that. So now, to a static image format, we have .png, .jpg, and so on and so forth. To a movie or a moving picture, which are the movies, we have different types of file formats like the AVI, like the MP4 and so on. To audio file type, there are different types of formats to them. So all these formats, right, they can't go through the network as that format. They have to be broken down into zeros and one. That is the work of the presentation layer. So once they have been broken into zeros and one, then it encrypts. So one of the protocols presentation layer uses in encrypting is the SSL, which is the secure socket layer. Are we good? So now, at this layer 2, this man too is going to slap its own header to the message, making how many header now? 2 header, right? So now let's go to the session layer. So the session layer, the responsibility of session layer, do you still remember what we are trying to what I'm trying to explain before it gets too complicated? OSI, yeah. So what do we say the OSI is? Before we talk about the OSI, there's a reason, there's something that will call upon OSI. Exactly, thank you. So we are looking at how our devices work with data, then move them out of the computer, then to another computer, to get to another computer. Am I making sense? I wish there is a board that I can be drawing all those things so that you can follow, but there's no board, so just manage like this, right? So the fifth layer, because we took the layer from the 7th one, so the 7th is the application, the next is presentation, after presentation, then we go to the session layer. So the work of session layer, right, is to open up a communication channel. You know, I get to know one terminology that they call, when you want to sneak, right, you say you open up a covert channel.
And it's inside that is fronting your card. Now what it does, like it created a router, like already I got like a sheet or a device. So it created that like that. Now used to block the original one that's on the ATM. So what it does is that once you let me give you an example, that was a particular I was looking at. The ATM, the guy uses an ATM where you normally slot in your account. You know there is one particular
on the street runner for the network. So that man knows it knows all the corner of any network. It knows basically every network. So this man creates a path that leads to where you are going. That's the function of the transport layer. Right? So the transport layer identifies which application is making an request and which service will handle the request. That is one of its functions. Right? And then, so I said it's like the street radar for a network, which determines who is the best fit to deliver the message. So best fit in what sense? So if I'm sending this message, will I prefer DHL to help me and deliver this message? Will I prefer FedEx to help me and deliver this message? Or I should just give it to Korokbe? The message should just get there now. You understand? But that is when you get to know their professionalism, their professionalism to the handling of
this data. Normally use. For example, now maybe GT uses www.gtv.com. Now, if I'm sending you a URL, and I use that page that you normally use. For example, now maybe GT uses www.gtv.com. Now, if I'm sending you a URL that might use that page that you normally use. For example, now maybe GT uses www.gtv.com. Now, if I'm sending you a URL,
these are the what's the full meaning now? These are the data protocol or something like that, right? So now, what's the major difference between the two? So we also use the concept of we call one the connectionless, and why we call the other one the connection oriented. So now TCP is connection oriented. So the reason why we call it connection oriented is because it makes sure that every message, right, that I send through DHL, I must make sure that the user get it. It's a must they get it. So that in case they don't get it, I can resend the message. I always use a Yoruba this thing to back it down. And TCP is what they call Umbolo and Yoruba. That's TCP. So it's the one that determines the path the message is going to follow, and it's still going to follow the message. So how does it follow the message? My guy was talking about something the other time about what we call three-way handshake, right? So the three-way handshake is what is being used by TCP to make sure that a message gets to destination, right? And then we have UDP. UDP, this man is connectionless. This man doesn't care. If you get your message, that's none of the man's business. If he doesn't get it, it's none of his business. I've sent it. So if you get it, what's my business? If you don't get it, that's none of my business. So you now want to determine if you are going into application development, you want to make sure which of this man here should you use. Well, depending on the application you are building, you want to determine this thing. And this man too, they have their port ID too, right? Oh, so at the transport layer, so I said something here that the transport layer identifies application through their port address. So we're going to have source destination port address, which are going to, yeah. So now this is useful when we are receiving a message. So when we are sending a message to, right? When we are creating a message, right? A transport layer header, a transport header is going to be added to our message too. So the function of the transport header is to determine which protocol should route the data, which protocol should move the data. So should it be TCP or should it be UDP? As a matter of fact, UDP is faster and TCP is slower. What makes it faster? This man is still going to go through some process and make sure your data gets there. So between my team, this man is still thinking, yeah, as this data got in there, this man has sent, but doesn't just care if you receive or not. Are we together? Are we together? All right. So now let's go to the next layer, which is the network layer. So the network layer. So as the message is coming from the transport layer, right? So the data is sent to network layer, right? And data at the transport layer is called segment. So when all those things have been done, so every data there will be converted into one segment. So now the segment will be sent down to the network layer. And what the network layer is going to do is going to encapsulate this data again, and then add what we call an IP header to the data. So what's the function of the IP header? So the function of the IP header, so the network layer, at the network layer, what needs to get done? Okay. So the network layer, right, is to add the destination address, which is the IP address. Basically in network, there are basically two addresses that devices need to know or figure out wherever a message is going through. So number one of that address is what we call the network address. So the network address, adds the source IP address and the destination IP address to the data. So what is the source IP address? So the source IP address is the IP address of the sender of the message, while the destination IP address is the address of who is going to receive the message. So now let's take, for instance, now I need to make as we started getting a request from YouTube, and then so my source address is going to be the address of my own device, while the destination address is going to be the address of YouTube, right? At some point, this address got changed, like the message is going to travel over a long distance, and the reason is because now, when this message is going out, it passes through some networks. So once it gets to that network, actually, your address keeps changing at some point, and then that's just complicated. Just know that when the message is going out, it goes with the source IP address and the destination IP address. So your source IP address, when the message is going out of your own network, right, it's going to carry your own IP address, right? So if it goes outside of your network, let's say for instance now, from here to YouTube, we have up to maybe 8 or so number of networks before you get to YouTube. So now if the message gets to, let's say, the second network, you still think your message is going to carry your own IP as the source? For we that have taken the classes before, the address is going to change there. Well, that's the responsibility of routing devices. It's the responsibility of your router, so it shouldn't be your own headache. But for those that will be taking some exams, these questions might be asked, right? So I said the network layer encapsulates IP header to the packet, to the data to be sent, and then at the network layer, data are called what we call packets. That is what we have here. So segments will be converted into what we call packets. So at the layer 3, your data is called packets. At the layer 4, your data is being called segments, right? So let's go to the next layer, which is the data link layer. The data link layer. So the data link layer produces what we call a frame, and this is the man that determines the interface through which your data, or let's say this is the man that determines the protocol that is going to carry your data to the physical layer. So basically, when we look at the types of networks that we have, there's a way we classify them. One of the classifications is we have a wired network and we have a wireless network. So this is the man that now determines if the message you are sending out will go out through the wired connection or the wireless connection. One thing that I do say that in class, I say, when we say we have a USB port, right? So your USB port is not the actual man. That port, that interface you are seeing, is not the man getting the job done. USB is a protocol on its own that resides somewhere. So that man is just giving you access to the protocol. So the same thing is going on here. So the protocol itself, the Ethernet protocol itself, resides at the data link layer. While at the physical layer, what you are just having is just the physical entity that gives you access to the protocol. Right? So at the data link layer, right, what happens at the data link layer, right? So the data link adds what we call, that is not, okay. So the data link adds the source and the MAC address, or what we call the ADI address, to the data that needs to be sent out. These are basically the two informations that are needed for the receiving devices to know your computer, where the message is coming to, which is the IP address of your computer and the MAC address of your computer. These two information, they are very important, and this information will be feeding into your data at different layers. right? So the MAC address will be feeding into your data at the layer 2, while at the layer 3, the IP address will be feeding into the data. Right? Wired technology, why the IEEE 802.11 talks about the standard that gave birth to the Wi-Fi, which is the wireless fidelity, right? So the last but not the least, which is the the physical layer. So the physical layer just talks about how those bits, right, will be converted into signals. So signal in the sense that what is actually going on. So that signal now, so data can be in a discrete format, right? And it can be right. So continuous simply means the change in shape, right? So that is where it's your bit being converted into what we call signals. So signal here will now be zeros and one, continuing like that. And then when you have 0, it simply means we have a voltage on the wire. And then when we have, I know this is much, but let's do a quick recap. It is always like this. It is one of the topic I don't like taking, but I have no option. We have to take it because to get this thing is not easy. But now let's do a quick recap now. Quick recap in the sense that now, can you please borrow me your phone, please? Sorry. So we want these two devices to share data. Now, with the help of the presentation layer, so how will they share? First thing, where is the input? So we have the input, right? The input in. Please, I want to take off this thing. I want to drop it. Can I drop it? I'll try and shout as much as I can. Thank you. Right. So now, if these two devices need to share data, right? Sender wants to work now, in this case now. Right? Sender wants to work. This is the man establishing the network, right? And you come and just sender, and you come and just receiver. Abi now, somebody will be sender, the other person will be receiver. Abi? So let's assume this is our sender. All right. We don't have much option here, do I? Okay. What we want to do is to do what? To transfer a file. Are we making sense now? Right? So now, as the layer 2, which is the presentation layer, what happened to the file? So at the presentation layer, what do? We just, okay, let's say, now we've selected the file, determines how our message is going to be sent, which is going to be an FTP header, right, at the application layer. So at the presentation layer, what happens at the presentation layer? So we are practicalizing it now. All my explanations since morning. So we want to conceptualize it, how it works in real life. So at the presentation layer, this message got broken down into understand the picture. It does not understand the audio. The only thing it understands is the zeros and one. Compulsorily, that data must be converted. If it doesn't get converted, there is no way other layers, the layers below, are going to work on that data. Not to talk of them moving the data outside of the device itself. So you could see all those layers, they work hand in hand. If anyone fails, your data goes nowhere. At times, you just see an error on your screen. You don't know what the error means. Might just be any of the presentation layer makes sure to encrypt the data. Do you know, that's the reason why we always say wireless is kind of not secure in a certain way, because of course you can hijack the frequency, the spectrum, right? it can be hijacked in a way, and then somebody will just be there, okay, let's leave that. Encryption. So at the layer 2, encryption happen, two things happen, right? Encryption and breaking down of data. Then at the layer 3, I'm sorry, not the layer 2, layer 7, layer 6, and layer 5, which is the session layer. So the session layer does what? The session layer does what? It's not the one that transfer. Eh? Eh? Okay. What does the session layer do? As the name implies, my name of felon. Eh? Let's try and use English. If we use English, we'll get it. Yeah, it's the one that establishes a communication channel between the two devices. So when those of us that use VPN, I listed some protocols at the session layer that work. We just know the session layer works. We actually don't know what goes on. So what actually makes it possible to change your layer that makes your it makes you anonymous in a certain way, whereby it will be very difficult for them to picture out, to figure out your IP address will be kind of difficult. It's at the session layer there. So that is the man that established the communication between this man. So bandits surely they must capture my data, or less parts, or a connect were handicapped. You understand? It's the application making the decision. Alright? So that's the transportation layer. And then so meaning at the transportation layer, a TCP header or UDP header is going to be slapped into your data. Am I correct? So meaning if you want a reliable data. Now, if you've noticed the reason why, let's take YouTube for instance now. Now, if you are, okay, if you don't want to use YouTube, you notice if a portion, let's say that the other end you are communicating with, you didn't get the person. Right? As you were talking, you just missed a part of YouTube to make use of UTP. So my guy was telling me something the other time that the network, like as they were streaming, right, that the network, it was buffering, and the part that got buffered, actually there's nothing that can be done to it. So if you've missed that part, you've missed it. Why? The protocol that is responsible for transmitting of video over the internet is UDP. So YouTube makes use of both TCP and UDP. So TCP to give you the frame, when I say the frame, to just give you the skeletal system of YouTube, but to stream, and it doesn't care, just keep. So you don't need to keep on acknowledging back that, okay, I received this, I don't receive this. We are making use of TCP, and the packet got lost. That's one of the advantages of TCP, to make sure every packet, to send. I think I made mention of that, right? So now, admin, as we are doing this live stream now, a packet got lost, right? And TCP now say, please, I lost this packet, can you please resend it? By the time that man resend it, you've missed another portion again, then it keeps going like that. That's the reason why they can't make use of TCP for video streaming. That's the reason why they can't make use of TCP for audio call. It has to be UDP. I know my explanation is long, sorry. We had an header that determines how the data will header that gives the. So should we follow the part that is safe or the part that is not safe? Of course, the responsibility of the device that is responsible, for the movement of this packet is the device that we call a router. That is the function of a router. Are we together? So a router can never work without an IP address. That is where the IP address configuration comes at layer 3 of this model. So at the layer 3, we add an header address to the data, which is the source MAC address and the destination MAC address. Protocol should we use? Should we make use of Ethernet or wire? So if it is Ethernet, then we open a channel of Ethernet. Then if it is Wi-Fi, then we open a channel that goes to the Wi-Fi of the device. This man has now, how does this man get the data? All the message that needs to be sent, it encapsulates. Why this man does what? So we check the MAC address. Is this my MAC address, or do I still need to consider who owns this MAC address in this network? In order for area network, there might be a lot of devices, but in this our own case, it's just these two man, right? It's just these two man. meaning there will just be this MAC address, but it is very what PCs, 100 devices, all of them together in a single place. Then how do they figure out the MAC address? Another question for another time, right? So now, by the sender. So at the network layer, it checks, then we jumble back the data again, the data that has been scrambled, then we assemble them back together again, and then we send it to the application layer, then you have an interface and all of those stuffs. So that is how data is being, that is our population on net is roughly 8 billion, right? Everybody has, which is the IP address. Sorry. That's one of the ways I explained in class. It's just, there are devices come, another way that I explain, I say device yourself at the IP address. So how many systems can you name in a day? And then how do you start picking the name? Let's say you need to name everybody now at once, 8 billion users. How can you name them? And then Igboru come on phone. So now a system came in place. Of course, we are at the layer 3 now. We now have two versions we have two types of, and that address can give us 4 points whatsoever addresses, can give us 4 identities. And that is not enough for everybody on this planet. We are roughly 8 billion, right? And that man is not enough, right? So it is not enough to tell her it is not enough before. But of course, we still now have people that are having 2 smartphones. My brother here, one little phone, everybody here, we have more than 1 device. So of course, and for these devices to talk, so how do we copy this IP address, this 4 billion IP address were broken down and how they were shared to users? I can't write on the screen, right? Now, basically we have 5 types of network addressing, right? We have 5 types of class ABC among the 4 billion. What you can say? So if we go deeper, we still have some IP addresses that are private, we still have some IP addresses that are public. So in class A, right, what are the range of the classes of IP address that we have for class A? Want to say something, sir? Okay. Yeah. IPv4 are written in dotted decimal. They can be something like, sorry, sir. I think I have an example at, no. I think I have an example. So I guess I didn't write it here. So, but basically, IP address can be written, when we say dotted decimal, right? Sorry. So when we say they can be written in a dotted decimal, it simply means, right, they are broken down into a string of IPv4, right, are broken down into 4 parts, right? We have parts A, B, C, and then D. So what helps us to determine the class that a network fall into, right, is the first octet, what we call an octet, right? So the first part, if it were to be a class A IP address, right? Class A IP address ranges from 0 to 127. So any IP, the way, okay. So my guy is just going to help me to see how IPs are written, how they are presented, and how they are represented in devices. Sorry, please, I should be rounding up in 4 minutes' time. So I said IPv4 are written in dotted decimal, and as a matter of fact, they can be presented in binaries. Yeah, because basically the only language the computer understands is binary. So if you are going to be a network administrator, you must just understand how it is being converted into binary. It is very, very important, right? So IPv4 can be represented in a dotted decimal, it can be represented in binary, while IPv6 are a 48-bit long IP address, and they're always written in hexadecimal. Um, so, um, so the efficacy of subnetting, right, is break into a network, right? You must be part of that network, right? So, what gives you a scope, right? That okay, I should. When you see an IP address now, you should be able to, like, by the calculations that you know. I'm just sorry we can't do the calculation. By the calculation you know, you can figure out the number of users that are in the network, and the number of users as a matter of fact, gives you the number of attacks. My guy was saying something the other time that on a single computer, you can carry out how many attacks? How many number of attacks? 65,000. 65,000 plus. That is talking about the number of ports that every computer has. So, meaning if you have one computer, you can carry out roughly 65,000 attacks on one computer, and then another computer is on that network having another 65 attacks. So, tell about security, everybody cannot secure, giving you an access to the number of attacks you can carry out. So, anybody to bat is soon, to bat is jokole, unlama fi wole si networking. So, when we now see a loop that okay, this address, we figured it out that okay, this is the range of this IP address. So okay, can they actually finish this IP address? So you just look for a free one, assign the free one to yourself. If you know how to do it, then you use that to infiltrate the network. Right? Okay. So this is how. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. So this is how dotted decimal IP address are written, and this is a range of a private IP address. Right? So hexadecimal are always written with digits and then with alphabet. So mixture of digit and alphabet. That is hexadecimal. Right? And hexadecimal are 48 bits. This is just a 32 bit. And the reason why we call it 32 bit is because now this first octet here, right? So what makes this first octet here is just an 8 bit, you know, bit are just the smallest unit, smallest representation of data on this. That's the smallest, the bits, 0s and 1, right? So 8 of those bits make this first octet. 8 of those bits, again, make this second octet. And then this third octet, 8 bits makes this one, and then 8 bits makes this one. So meaning 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, that gives 32. That is how they got the 32 bits long IP addressing. Right? So now if you now need to come in, it is those space that they borrow for you to get your own IP address. Are we together? Well, I think we question. Okay. So in the absence of none, then I will call it a day here, and it is nice having you guys around and seeing all of that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Toby. A round of applause for him again, and a round of applause for all the people that have been able to come here so far and been able to speak with us. Thank you so much, Mr. Yemi. Thank you so much, Mr. Uche. How many of us learned a thing or two? Let me see your hands. Did you learn something today? Amazing, amazing. Now, today is what I call a tip of the iceberg. Say a tip of the iceberg. Just a tip of the iceberg. One of the things we ensure that we do at SQL College of ICT is this. When you begin to get practical sessions and you're practicing those practical sessions, we want to ensure that you understand the theoretical aspect of it. Let me show you an example. Let me tell you an example. You know how that, thank God we are doing Cybersecurity Week. You know how that if you want to break a lock or you want to break, yes, a padlock, for example, there are a lot of ways by which you can do it, Abby. How can you break a padlock? Using hammer.
With your phone. Open the app and tap Create New Session. You can produce your own.
There is an expert way to unlocking padlocks. All those ones, they will make noise. Abi? Sometimes while you are using hammer to break it, they will already catch the thief. There are some thieves that they will rob the house effectively and you will not hear a sound. Have you not seen it before? You think it's only in movies? They'll just carry one pin like that. Just like this, tum, 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 and it will just... those ones are the real thieves. They are the international thieves. What am I trying to say? Those people that just put a pin through the padlock and they unlock the padlock, they can do that effectively because they understand how the padlock works. Listen, they understand the internal components of the padlock. They understand what are the mechanisms that are moving around in the padlock. That's the only reason that they can do that. So all of the parts that you've learned today majorly is to understand what really goes on behind the scene. So that when you begin to now unlock the padlock, it will not look like magic. Are we following? All right, so can we just do a round of applause for those that spoke again? And I know we've spent a lot of time, so we're going to be rounding off now. But shortly before we round off, I just need 2 people to just share very brief, just 30 seconds. Just tell us about what they learned today. It can just be a word, it can be a sentence, anything at all. Is there anybody that is bold enough to do that? Can we get an extra microphone? We don't have that at the moment. All right. Do you want to speak? Okay, so let me.
My name is Ajibale Sonny Maiwa. I'm from Lautech, Department of Computer Science. So what I learned today is all about OSR. I've been studying so far, but I don't understand it deeply like this.
Testimony. Amazing. So he said he has been studying this for a very long time, and because of today's lecture, he has been able to learn what the OSI model is. Anybody else? One more person, and that would be it. Thank you.
Lautech, Cybersecurity Science.
All the way from Lautech.
So actually, I wanted to research on the careers on cybersecurity so that I can choose my field. So this has like giving me like an insight, so it will be easier for me to do that too.
Amazing. A round of applause for you. The program to be made was absolutely worth it. Do we have any questions? We are at the question and answer phase. Any questions? One, I'll only be taking 3. 1, 2, one final person, and that would be it. We'll also be getting questions from other campuses. The multimedia team should get ready for that. Questions from other campuses. 1, 2, one last person. One last person. It's going. All right. So let's have your question. Oh, 3. Great.
My question is farming and fishing. What I understand before is of a website in which you log in your details and they will collect your data or information. But I see that it is called farming, not fishing. So I'm confused about that thing.
Farming and fishing. Great. Thank you very much. The second person, I hope we are keeping a record. All right. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you, Sars, for the lecture. So I have 2 questions, basically. So I want to ask that, although I feel like there are other skills that are important to learn while diving into the skill, but like, are there some other skills that, okay, if you are going to be excellent and successful as a cybersecurity agent, are there other skills that you must just have the understanding? Like, this was just my thought process during the lecture. So I was thinking that we can solve problems because problems exist. Okay, so I want to ask that during the training and all of that, is there like a way they, help the mindset of people not to dive into the negative, non-ethical aspect of these cyber arms and all of that, and that those that are actually into it, are those also cybersecurity, like did they learn cybersecurity for them to become that kind of a thing? And that is it not actually to our advantage? Because if they are not solving, I mean, why would
Question, third question, third question. All right.
Okay. The thing is that I just want to know about more about grey hacking, grey hackers.
About
Grey hackers.
grey hackers.
Yes.
Grey. Mr. Uche, that one is back to you. So I don't know how you're going to split the question, but let me take the first one. And if Mr. Yemi is also going to indulge us in any of the questions, you can share it in between. Mr. Uche. So you can just speak with him so that you know. All right. So for the question that he asked, I like it particularly because I'm a fan of yin and yang. Do you know what yin and yang is? Positive and negative, good and evil. Truth is that provided that you are in this world, there will always be good and there will always be evil. There will always be thieves and there will always be policemen. One of the angles that you'll notice about what most of the speakers talked about today was, most of them talked about hacking. Hacking, if I want to gain access to. Now, one of the major reasons why they focus on that a lot is because there's a proverb that says, to catch a thief, you must do what? You must act like a thief. You must understand the way a thief thinks to be able to apprehend them. So that's the reason why the first day, the truth is that if you miss the cybersecurity week on the second day or the third day, you have done yourself a great disadvantage. Because like I said, this is just the introductory aspect. This aspect is to show you what can be done in the negative way and the impact that it has on people so that you can become the better person and then do the right things. Do we understand? One of the dark aspects of it is actually very illegal to do those things. They could arrest you for this. They could jail you for it. And that's why the title of this week is not called Hacking Week, right? It's called Cybersecurity Week. Do you understand what I just said? Very, very important for you to keep that in mind. So one of the major things that you're not going to be learning in the subsequent days are how to be protected against this. But first of all, you must know that the threat exists. Abby? How do you want to be protected against something you don't understand that it exists? Are we following? Mr. Uche, did I try small? All right. So you're going to take some of the other questions, right? All right.
Okay. I'm back again. All right. So let me take the first question. The differences between farming and fishing. Fishing. P-H. So let me just start with farming anyways. Farming is a way of cultivating, doing all those agricultural stuff, right? You are tilling the ground, you are planting stuff, or you are rearing fowl, fishes and the likes. That is farming, right? Whereas fishing, P-H-I-S, not F in this case, not fish. They just coined it out of the word, there's this Hackers Dictionary, right? They spoke about hackers and how hackers like to spell. Hackers don't like spelling things the way normal people spell it. That's why when you are hearing of red team, blue team, why are they so fascinated or obsessed with colors? Hackers are just weird, right? So the spelling convention does not really matter. They just coined it out of the word fishing. It's just like ball against shell. Ball against shell was just a form of ploy for hackers to laugh at religion, basically. Because it's supposed to be, it's a kind of shell. So it's supposed to be born again. When they say you are born again now in Christ. So they were just trying to laugh at religion and they spoke about ball against shell. So it's a type of shell that you use to access a Unix system. So this phishing now is just used to gain information from people, right? You want to get sensitive information from people, they make use of phishing. So it's just an act under social engineering. You understand? There is cybersecurity, right? There is ethical hacking. There is social engineering. I'm speaking about like a subset now. The first one is cybersecurity, is encapsulating the whole thing, right? Then inside cybersecurity, right? And then inside social engineering, you have one of the techniques involved in social engineering, you have phishing. You understand? And I like to say that phishing is what do I mean by that? I mean, you can use. And once the link has been delivered to you, you are just going to, oh, it is Facebook, and you put in your Facebook username, put your Facebook password, and any other information. It's just like those guys that do the grant stuff. I don't know, you guys see it now, 5,000 naira, somebody is doing this, someone is doing that. You put in a lot of information inside now, so they can use that information to, get money for free money now. Abi? So now, the application to download that file, you will not download it. So back in the day, right, if you are either it's encrypts all the files on your system, then it's asking you for money, or somebody is having access to your system one way or the other. You understand? That's why I said phishing can be both offensive, passive, and offensive, active. You understand? You can use it it's just a means to an end. Either they're using it to get information to you, or they're using it to download, allow a download on your system. It is one of the other, right? So I hope I explained the differences between farming and fishing. It's just spelling. People are very weird. So the way I understand your question, if there is motivation, right, so that you don't give up at some point in time. Yes, we have the mind talk. So with mind talk, if you are coming for mind talk every time, even when you have imposter syndrome, you feel like you're a scam, like you are not getting enough, like you're not getting better, there is a lot of all that session in mind talk where we try to motivate. All these things are actually very normal. When you start, it will be very tedious, very, very tiring. You will get tired. You understand? Because you are learning now. When you are trying to learn something for the first time, it is not easy. It's understandable. So on mind talk, they will try to motivate you and try to, talk to you about whatever it is that, might be bothering you. Right? And your other question is, what was that question again? If you don't do bad, okay, I think Mr. Shea has answered down. So the last one is, you wanted to know more about grey hats. You want to know more about grey hats? Why? Look at this bad man. This guy is a criminal. Eh? Okay. Okay, so about grey hats, I think I said that grey hats are just the guys, like I feel like they are not confident enough, right? Or maybe it could be because of maybe where they are working at, there isn't enough money, right? You don't have enough money in that place. I don't even know what I mean. In the day, you are doing good things. In the night, you are doing bad things. You have a question. They said 3 now, Jesus Christ. Sir? You want to react? Sir? Okay. During the day. Nah, that is a bug hunter. Nah, a bug hunter. A grey hat, you don't really know where you stand. You're a mixture of black and white. You don't know where you stand. You don't know whether you're good or you're bad. It's not about companies. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, Jesus. How did I miss that? Yes. Sorry about that. So, other skills required. You might run away. Cybersecurity is a lot. Like I said previously, cybersecurity is not an entry-level place, right? It's not something you just you enter inside. No, you need to have some prerequisite skills. That's why we take prerequisite courses here. You understand? You want to have an understanding of programming. That's why I said it depends on what part of cybersecurity you are going into. Do you want to go into web application, or do you want to just stay in the network side or the system side? Just that sometimes, and depending on the part of the system you are going into, you understand? At least you might just have a little bit, maybe like Python, just a little bit of Python, not necessarily too much. But if you are going into web application, you must have at least some good, very good knowledge. I don't mean when you are going as a bug hunter. I mean when you want to be working in an organization. Nobody's going 4 years of experience, 10 years of experience, 5 years of experience. You understand? That's from the basics. Depending on what line you are going into. Do you want to go into web application? Want to go into system or networks? You'll be taught accordingly. So now if you want to go into web applications, right, you would like to learn, or you would want to learn about the front end and the back end. In web applications, they call it the 3-tier stack or the 3-tier architecture, right? The first tier is the front end. The second tier, that is the one in the middle, is the server side, right? Whereas the last tier is the database, the storage. You understand? So you want to learn about that. And if you go into networking, you also want to learn the basics of networking, like the OSI model that was just taught. You understand? You want to understand how data is flowing from one part to another. Because let me tell you the truth, from every part of that OSI model, you can be hacked. If one is secure, if your application layer is secure, your transport layer is not secure, it is easy. If your transport layer is secure, your session layer is not secure, easy. You understand? So at every point in time, all the way down to the USB that you're plugging or the attacked at any point in time. You understand? So in cybersecurity, you are going to be learning a lot of things. I won't lie to you. A lot of things. You need to be a monster to be in cybersecurity. I remember when I started this, my boss director told me that I should put like 5 years in. Like, which you just forget, just do 5 years. 5 years. Just 5 years to learn as much as possible. 5 years. And I'm telling you, if you start now, right, and dedicate the next 5 years to your life of learning, by the end of that 5 years, if you are really dedicated, oh my God, you would have become something else. Sir? Like what? I don't want to say what you become. Because if you are not properly trained in the right direction, you might end up in jail. You understand? And the government will likely be using you to do things. They will put ankle bracelets on your leg. You can't go anywhere. They are monitoring your every movement. You know, that kind of thing. So that is one of the things. Five years. I'm telling you, 5 years of your life. You have, like, some of us are like 15, 20 something. Adding another extra 5 years is not much now. But by the end of that 5 years, at least you should be making a lot of money. Seriously. At least 1M and above. I'm serious. So please. Any other question? Online or abroad? I don't know, sir. Okay. So, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be calling it a day from here. And the time to reconvene tomorrow is going to be what time? 10 a.m. on dot. No African time. It's not 10:20. It's not 10:30. 10 a.m. on dot. I'd like for you to do one final thing before we call it a day. I want you to give a round of applause to yourself for staying through these sessions. It's not exactly easy to stay through. Thank you.